spirits high. Let the buildings keep our children bright. Let creation reveal its secrets by and by. By and by. When the light that's lost within us reaches the sky. Some of them were angry at the way the earth was abused by the man who learned how to forge her beauty into power. And they struggled to protect her from them, only to be confused by the magnitude of her fury in the final hour. And when the sand was gone and the time arrived, in the naked dawn only a few survived. And in attempts to understand a thing so simple and so huge, believed that they were meant to live after the deluge. Let the music keep our spirits high. Let the buildings keep our children dry. Let creation reveal its secrets by and by. By and by. When the light that's lost within us reaches the sky.
Aloha. Welcome. It's so good to be with all of you today. Thank you so much. I am holding a phone because this is my Kumu Ike Manu Lum, who had a little trouble. We had a little Zoom trouble. So, bro, we make it happen, bro. We make them happen. So this is who is here with me, which I feel is just so appropriate, bro. You are in my space with me as a Kumu should be. So I feel so honored. Mahalo. Thank you, Kumu. Today is Hanana. Hanana means the event in the language of Hawaii. And in particular, the event pertaining to this transition from Pisces into Aquarius. And that's what we're going to discuss as a community today. What does it mean to be in an age of Pisces? And what does it mean to transition into an age of Aquarius? So mahalo, thank you. Before we go any further into any oration and introductions, it's super important that we offer a toning, a chant, and that is why our Kumu Ikimanu is here with us today. And so through technology, blessed be Uranus, the planet Uranus, and Aquarius. Okay, it's happening now. We have Kumu. Kumu, I love you.
Thank you very much. I'm so honored to be with all of you today and feel the connection of Pisces, leaving Pisces into Aquarius. It is very important, a Hawaiian way, a traditional Hawaiian way, a protocol to ask for permission to be with us. So I would like you all to come into a place of peace, of love, unconditional love, and understanding. May you close your eyes at this time as I connect you with our kupuna, your ancestors. mai na taua e pili na lokai. E a e ola mauloa ke ia o ana. A me ngā kanaka au pau o ai. E ho mai kai ke e ke a hapu a haa e o. E ho mai hoi. E ho mai kuliakan. Lave aku I ka olelo o ka maluhia me ke aloha mau e maka e o mai ana e o mai na au au e o mai unihipiri e o mai amakua e kalaui e ala e a kaua nai taloa e ho mai a hoi e ho mai a kuvai ai e ho mai kui a kanui e ho mai a hana e ho mai na au au e ho mai na unahi pili e ho mai a People of long hearts, you are like a lei to wear and cherish. Let us come back and be with each other. Let's grant long life to our family here and to all people of Hawaii, no matter where you live in the world. Give us the knowledge, the source to perpetuate the cultures of Hawaii and to connect us with our kupuna. Give us the knowledge to respect to oneself. People of loyal hearts, we are all together and connected today with our breath, with our knowledge. Let it be. Mahalo.
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 Mahalo kumu ikimanu. Bra, treasure of the Hawaiian people and a treasure of the people of Earth. May we always respect and honor our kupuna.
Yes.
And the knowledge and the legacies. Aloha yaoi. He auki luka la, no kopama luka la.
I polole. So at this time, we're going to do some self-cleansing. We're going to do some chanting. But before we do the chanting together, let's do the self-cleansing before we get into this wonderful event. I want you to think of all the people or parties, of all the fears and errors, resentments, guilt, anger, violence, attachments. This is the time to let that go. This is the time of ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono comes with you. You comes with you. So if you listen to me, I want you to think of all the parties, the fears, the errors, the resentments, the guilt. And once I'm going to actually give you the name, and then you ask your name in the top. Let's do the self-cleansing together. Divine Creator, Father, Mother, Child as one, I, put your name in there, wish to do Ho'oponopono with the names of parties, including all my fears, all my errors, all my resentments, all my guilts, all my anger, all my violence, all my attachments with people, especially those that we have strong karmic ties with, past places, past lives, home ties, including their families, relatives, and ancestors that contribute to the cause of my problems. Let's cleanse ourselves, purify, sever, cut, and release all the negative, unwanted memories, blocks, and energies I have created and or accumulated from the beginning of my creation to the present. Transmute all these unwanted energies to pure light. I release them to pure light as they release me. We are all set free, and it is done. The peace of I, peace be with you, all my peace. The peace is I, the peace that I am, the peace for always, now and forever and evermore. My peace I give to you. My peace I leave with you. Not the world's peace, but only my peace. The peace of I. Kapu aloha, a multi-dimensional concept and practice inspired by our kupuna. It places a discipline of compassion in all of us and helps us to internalize our thoughts and words and deeds without harming others. It honors the energy and life found in aloha, compassion, and helps us focus on its ultimate purpose and meaning, and in a non-violent and peaceful consciousness. That is the highest aloha that anybody can get. I hope you can remember what I said to you today, the highest form of aloha. So let's put ourselves in a peaceful place right now, and we're going to chant. You're going to chant with me, and we're going to chant A, E, I, O, U. And this is really beautiful because then we're going to go A, E, I, O, U, E, I, O, U, A, I, O, U, A, E, O, U, A, E, I, U, A, E, I, O. The chant goes, A, E, O. Breath. E, O, A. Breathe. E, O, A, E. Breathe. O, A, E. O, A, E. O. And we're going to end with that. Okay, together with Ku. Anaho. Breathe. Breathe. Keep on breathing. Do not stop. Do not stop. Umia kahanu. Repeat after me. Umia kahanu.
Umia kahanu.
Umia kahanu.
Umia kahanu.
One more time. Umia kahanu.
Umia kahanu.
Hold the breath. Hold the breath. Be patient. Don't give up so easily. One more time. Umia kahana. Umia kahanu.
Umia kahanu. Umia.
Hold the breath. Be patient. Don't give up so easily. Mahalo, everyone, for this opportunity. Mahalo, Keoni, my brother, my soul brother. I am so honored and pleased to open this beautiful seminar that we have together and holding space with you as we remember our Na'au Unihipili, your Amakua. Keoni always tells us that. That is the kupuna way. That is what our kupuna always told us, to hold this, to hold Unihipili, to hold Amakua. That is the most important way of giving the source on who you are as a person. Mahalo, Keoni.
Mahalo. Mahalo. I love you. Mahalo. What a privilege and an honor to be blessed by one of our kupuna, our elders, a global elder. Mahalo. And especially in honoring this fabric of Pisces, and Pisces is a lot about ritual. And we honor that about Pisces. And it has a place, and just as you're guiding us through, not just the breath, but also that peace, right? About really acknowledging the peace to which we can now offer. And to release that, which is not of the highest quality, to be offered into an age of Aquarius. So this is that kuleana, that responsibility. Mahalo. And there is no greater teacher of kuleana than our elders. Mahalo. My name is Keoni Hanale. I was inspired to initiate this ceremony because I felt that it was irresponsible for so many people to talk about Aquarius, but there is very little dialogue about Pisces. Pisces is where we are. We are a culture who are obsessed with escaping. If something doesn't feel comfortable or is inconvenient, there's a tendency to escape, and I feel that's what's happening. Pisces perhaps hasn't been what people would like it to be, so we're already imposing a narrative onto Aquarius. So it's really important for us to really discern what is Pisces. Is Pisces complete? What is the legacy of Pisces? And then what is our primordial memory of Aquarius? Today we have some amazing guest speakers who are going to share about this transition and just the elements of Pisces Aquarius, perhaps its synthesis as well. We have Je t'aime Serge Grant coming from Virgin Islands. Aloha, sister. Thank you so much. Speaking of zodiacal perspectives, we have Neve Cronin coming from Ireland. And Sister Neve talks a lot about primordial and the origins, the blueprint. We have Kamala K. Brown in England, and our sister Kamala is a beautiful sound alchemist. As many of you know, even Edgar Cayce shared that the future of medicine is sound. So thank you so much, Kamala. We have Juan Reynoso coming from California. Aloha, brother. Brother is going to speak on Indigenous storytelling. And what I love about Indigenous storytelling, just like Kumu Ike Manu, it is such a beautiful fabric of Pisces. And honoring that about Pisces, about the beautiful storytelling and our legacies and how we honor our legacies here in the human event. Thank you so much, Brother Juan. And we have Sarah Rhinelander coming from Uruguay. And Sister is going to talk about a lot of these things that we perhaps are shifting into, okay? The dynamics that are shifting into Aquarius, especially the money, the financial paradigm, how that's going to shift as we go into Aquarius. Thank you so much for being with us today, Sister Sarah. And of course, Brother Ike Manu Lum, my kumu, mahalo for offering this very essential fabric of any ceremony, which is protocol. Protocol, once again, something very important in Pisces. So thank you, Kumu Ike Manu. You know, I want to just begin by just introducing this fabric of Pisces into this dialogue. Now, when many of you registered, you shared what is your translation of Pisces. And you know what's the great thing about Pisces is that we can reference Pisces by an experience because we are living it right now. So what has been our experience of Pisces? I want to share with you some of your translations of Pisces, if you don't mind. And thank you so much for sharing. You know, as we move forward, it's very important that our community speaks up, that everyone gets to share their translations with the ability for others to receive that, rather than scrutinize it, reject it, but receive. Let's receive one another. Let's understand one another. So here's some of the translations of Pisces. What is Pisces? Okay. Patriarchy. Patriarchy. Emotional intelligence. Control, heavy bondage. Patriarchy. Passionate engagement. Overcoming and atoning with myself. Patriarchy. Dreams. Patriarchy. Sacred sovereignty and freedom. Global interconnectedness and clarification of the value of materialism versus spirituality. Contraction. Power. Patriarchy. The need to reason about everything. Patriarchy. Letting go of the martyr syndrome and carrying a deep sensitivity into the Aquarian age. Wow. Alchemical soul gold derived from our addictions to suffering. Yes. Exploring the limitations of religious constructs. Of course, you saw a theme there. The theme is patriarchy. Now, we got to talk about this. if that's a theme of Pisces, if it's not resolved, it's going to be transferred into Aquarius. And this is why we have to have these conversations. Personally, for me, I feel that Pisces has been an age of worship. It's been an age of worship, and the worship of the exclusive, where only a few could determine and discern how people live their lives. And that seems like that's going to shift into Aquarius if we don't resolve that now. So, just being aware of that. I want to also give people the opportunity who are not able to share in registration in the comments. Feeling into that, what are some of the themes of Pisces? What have you experienced? What have you experienced? Not idealized. What's been your experience? Anybody want to share? Just feel free, friends. Okay, there's been pain. There's been pain. Existential crisis. Okay, yes, shame. Addictions. Externalization of God, right? There's been a lot of exclusivity, and therefore there's been a lot of subordination. Okay, right. Homogenization, separation, war, addiction. Okay, but also empathy. Of yes, in Pisces, there's been deep feeling, there's been deep remorse, and that has lent to that pain. Deep remorse. Transformation, remembrance, opportunity to grow from limitations we've created for ourselves. Yes. Yes. Okay, I wanna give you an example, okay, of some of the energies to which we're working with here. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, if we go back, let's go back. Okay, what came before Pisces? What age came before Pisces? That's the age of Aries. Now, Aries, just like Pisces, just like Aquarius, has these amazing qualities and it has these distortions. Now, in Aries, the distortion is organized war. Organized war. And its highest quality is sovereign willpower. Wow, sovereign willpower. However, what became pulled into Pisces? Organized war. Now, when you blend organized war with spirituality, what do you get? You get rigid religion. And for the last 2,000 years, that's really been the collective experience, is this rigidity in religion, subordination, censorship, right? Someone just shared holy war, weaponized religion. Yes, yes. Organized war into spirituality, we have weaponized religion. Now, you shared this. I want you to just dig deep, friends. What's the great quality of Pisces? What have we been blessed in? You know, Pisces is our nest. It's been our nest. It's been a gestation period for us. What are the highest qualities of Pisces? What have you experienced? Yes, emotion, structure. Yes, structure. What else, friends? Love, love. Yeah. Clarity, community, transformation, exploration, spirituality, ceremony, remembrance. Yes. Dreams made manifest. Mystery. Beautiful. Here's the skill. The highest quality of Pisces has got to become more interesting and more relevant than subordination. than exclusive worship. That's the only way we're going to transfer that into Aquarius. That's a gift that we're offering Aquarius. You have to feel it that way, that we're offering Aquarius a gift. Are we really going to gift Aquarius subordination, exclusivity, censorship? If that's what's most interesting in your field, that means that's also what's most relevant. Regardless of it's harmful or not, whatever's most interesting in your field, that's what's most relevant. That's why, bro, we gotta shift out of victim mentality. Gotta shift out of victim mentality. Just like Kumu Ikemanu took us through that, right? Highest qualities. Okay. All right. I would love to invite our sister Neve into this discussion. And, you know, like I was sharing, Sister Neve talks a lot about original blueprint, okay? So we can even feel that as like this foundation, right? This foundation, this launch pad to which we're gonna cultivate and gather these tools and these gifts and hold them and now offer them as a contribution. What's the contribution into Aquarius? I wanna make this super clear. Do not approach Aquarius with expectation that Aquarius is gonna do anything for us. We are approaching Aquarius with gifts. Right? We approach Aquarius. Sister Neve, sister, welcome. Aloha ma.
Aloha ma. Thank you so much, Keone. Thank you so much to everyone here. Ta ohas on Urim. I have a lot of happiness. Ta lo gra in my cri. I have a lot of love in my heart for being here. And I'm deeply humbled to share space with so many amazing people that carry so much wisdom. And today I want to share a glimpse into, I guess, the wisdom that I've cultivated from my own journey. And I'm so grateful for Keone for granting me this space to speak into this transition. And everything that I share has derived from my own personal experience. So with that being said, this is my synthesis, my understanding of my journey here and this greater evolutionary journey we are all experiencing here on this planet. And with everything I share, just take what resonates and leave the rest. And we're here as a community now to reflect and share our own perspective. And just like a diamond has many facets and sides, as we begin to crystallize this deeper innate memory of who and what we are, we get to do that as a community, and we get to share and reflect. And this is what I know we're experiencing today as a community. So what I'm about to share with you is part of the original blueprint. It's a map that I created for myself to help me integrate and understand, I guess, an array of vast complex information around the genetic, the process that we've been moving through as human beings, as we've been evolving through this universe. And we find ourselves now at this place and this point as we are exiting Pisces. What does that actually mean? And in practical terms, what are the internal, emotional, and physiological events that are occurring, and how can we practically now approach these changes and use this gateway, this nucleus we are in, to ultimately transform into something beyond all that we know. And so I'm going to preface what I'm about to share with an audio that I pre-recorded. And I just want to invite everyone just to drop into your body, drop into your heart, but most importantly, drop into your feeling senses, your emotional intelligence, and feel, go on a journey with these words and feel for yourself. What really does this time mean to you? And then I'm going to guide us through some visuals to help anchor into and offer some practicality. How can we now approach what is arising? How can we actually tangibly alchemize and refine and extract what we require from this age so we can actually move into a new age of Aquarius, and not bring with us these distortions? Okay, so take a breath, find a comfortable space, and I'm going to play this audio for you. And Brother Keone, I might just ask you, it's saying that I need to, oh yeah, perfect. Awesome. Okay.
Sister Neve, there seems to be no sound coming.
Okay. Apologies, everyone. Let me just try that again. And I thought everyone was sitting listening to it. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. To my memory, there have been many expressions of life on this planet. With every new planetary cycle, we took on a new expression of life. Over time, through the process of fractal compression and materialization, the journey of planetary cycle, totality, we took on a new expression of life, finite form. Over time, through the process of fractal compression and materialization, the reason for this is that during each planetary cycle, totality, our planet and human bodies experience different internal and external conditions, took on different expressions. The reason for this is that during each planetary cycle, our planet and human bodies experience different internal and external conditions, which influenced and altered the amount of light and the vibrational frequency that could pass through our cells and DNA at that time. Because of this, within every planetary cycle, our perception, abilities, and expression of life were also different. In earlier cycles, life had more access to our innate source and blueprint. Yet as our planet plummeted into more density, as it journeyed through the fractal compression throughout this universe, into the most dense and compressed aspect of our solar system, the photon belt, here our human DNA and genes also began to experience this contraction, and we slowly began to lose our connection to our source and equally our ability to read and translate our original genetic memory effectively. This constriction in density limited the amount of light and frequency passing through our cells and DNA, hence limiting what genes could be expressed and which ones could not. This constriction also limited our innate capacity to translate our genetic memory with accuracy. So while the expression of our human DNA may have been altered or limited due to this fractal compression, it is important to remember that our original memory and original genetic blueprint always remained intact. We were just not able to access or translate it effectively due to this constriction. You could say that our DNA was constricted and limited by natural occurrence, and until now it has been necessary part of the genesis of our species. To support in the alchemical process to refine and synthesize all of natural universal intelligence, to synthesize all contrasting expressions of life into the most condensed, compressed, fractalized point, the human body, so that here it could come into full realization of who we really are as universal beings. Now at this time, humanity has reached its melting pot, and we have entered into the intensity point. As we do, the earth and our physical bodies are going through so many internal and external changes. As we approach the exit of Pisces, these changes are now inviting us to embrace this intensity in our physical bodies and to alchemize this density fully. To alchemize, we must, of course, first remember how to truly feel. And as we begin to feel the full spectrum of our emotions once again, we will transform and transmute the dense emotional energy in our bodies, refining what we have learned from this age, and with it, bringing with us its wisdom into the new one. This process requires space and patience for each and every one of us to truly embrace now and alchemize the age of Pisces. To alchemize the tension, the trauma, the emotional density and constriction within our physical bodies. And as we do that, our DNA will begin to unfurl and unravel, allowing for a greater alchemical light to penetrate and pass through our physical bodies. This will then allow us to translate more of our original organic genetic memory of all that came before, from all iterations, all cycles, and experiences of life that came before us. You may wonder why I make reference to our original genetic memory. The reason for this is that with every new planetary cycle through this journey of fractal compression, there was a new iteration or expression of human life. There are many different genetic expressions of life on this planet, and each expression has varying degrees of consciousness and potential depending on its density. Each genetic expression played a vital role in the greater genesis or genetic process of our humanity, and allowed for us as human beings to experience all facets of human life, intelligence, and equally experience varying gradients, degrees, and depths of expression of our potential. So what does that mean? It means that your body has stored the memory of every iteration of universal life in your genetic blueprint. It also means that you've stored the memory of every iteration of every cycle of human life on this planet. And so as you begin to even contemplate restoring your original genetic memory, you must be aware that you're not only attempting now to restore the true genetic memory of the cycle of Pisces within this planetary cycle, but equally you are restoring all genetic memory that derives from all iterations and expressions of human life that has ever existed and beyond. And here now, as we exit Pisces, we are attempting to reintegrate, synthesize, and embody the full spectrum of our universal memory in one place. Take a moment to let that land. So as we approach the exit, the nucleus, we now have the opportunity to embrace it all fully and completely, and perhaps enter into not only a new cycle, not even a new epoch, but perhaps an entirely new genesis of universal life as we know it. Mahalo. Thank you for receiving this. And now just to offer some context and some practicality to around what I shared, I just want to offer some visuals engaging another aspect of our intelligence, another aspect of our sense of sight. So here what we're looking at, these 3 circles representing the genesis. There's 3 cycles to the genesis of the human body, 3 trimesters. But you could even say, if we were to approach the genesis of this universal cycle, we're approaching 3 cycles, 3 grand fractal cycles. And within those cycles, there are many other cycles. And as if you could imagine, as source made its descent, as it was to travel throughout the universe, to travel through many different iterations of life as we know it, it would journey through a fractalization process, so a compression. So as it spirals through the universe, every expression that traveled through each cycle must refine itself, must compress itself into the next cycle, and so forth, until we reach the nucleus, the midpoint. And as you know, we're now where we are located on this physical planet that we call Earth. We are now in the most dense compressed aspect of the Milky Way, which is the most dense compressed point within this universe. And we are now bearing witness to, as we go through the Earth transitions now, as it transitions through the most dense compressed aspect of our solar system. What does that mean? And what does that mean for our human body? Who are we and what role do we play? And so here we are at the nucleus. What if we were to perceive that the human body, the human vessel, is the most dense compressed aspect of the universe, experiencing itself in physical form? That it is the nucleus, and that we are now approaching the exit of Pisces. And this is an opportunity for us now to feel, experience, and integrate all that we are. And so here we are, as you can see in the center point, we are now moving into the center. But what does that mean on a practical level? Here's another visual we could look at, that the age of Aries cycled into Pisces, and now we are approaching the center point as we enter into Aquarius. We don't know what Aquarius is, because what Aquarius is something beyond it. We have to go through the alchemical process before we can even begin to contemplate what that is. And so here we can map these cycles to the physical vessel, to the body. And look at the map of the body as we make our descent now from the realms of the intellect and the mind, integrating all of that, integrating the realms of human consciousness as we integrate and bring coherence into the realms of our heart intelligence. And now as we enter the age of the emotional age, to feel now, to move through the emotional and alchemical stages, to integrate this age we're in. And so what we're looking at here is I want to offer a solution to this time. And this is something that has been born out of my own direct experience. This is looking at how can we approach that which is, as Keone said, that which is most interesting is that which is manifesting in our physical element world, that which is manifesting in your world right now. So that which we fear, that which we resist, that which we do not understand. Now we're being invited to embrace it. But how can we embrace it? First and foremost, we have to remember how to cultivate the inner space and the awareness to now feel and integrate that which is appearing in our world, and to move through these emotional, but also they're alchemical. So what you're going to see here is each stage of this process is also mirrored with an alchemical process, because we are also alchemizing our physiology. We are changing our genetics as we embrace Pisces, as we embrace all that is light and all that is dark, as we choose to come face to face with ourselves. We will actually begin to transform into something new. And so when I speak into the original blueprint, emotion is the vehicle, right? Because to feel means that we acknowledge that we are that which we fear. And so these steps that I'm just revealing to you here is, as we begin to approach, for example, let's take patriarchy, hierarchy as an element that Pisces has offered us. Now we can begin to embrace it. We can begin to, first and foremost, okay, I acknowledge you. And knowing now that the physical body, who and what we are a map of everything that exists in this world and beyond. We can now go within and resource, where do I embody patriarchy? How can I acknowledge the presence of the matrix within myself, the presence of the system of control within myself? How can I begin to transform it from the most dense aspect within myself, and realizing that we are the vessel for alchemical change at this time? And so acknowledge it. How can I allow its presence without resisting it? How can I witness it? Witness it as a reflection of creation. How can I appreciate it? And this, my friends, appreciation, to cultivate the awareness, to actually be able to appreciate this, takes time, it takes patience, it takes courage. How can I appreciate that which this is offering me? What is this teaching me? How can I embrace it? To go into the embrace means now I need to fully bring it into myself and accept that that which I resist, that which I fear, that which I hate is me. And then through the embrace, which is like, this is where we lose ourselves, right? It's just the alchemical process of putrefaction, where we can almost become lost, forgetting that we are actually transforming. And this is the point where we often attempt to go backwards, or we may bring the distortion with us into the next stage in our lives or into this next cycle. But this is where we need to remember that we are remembering now how to translate distortion. We're remembering how to translate density in a completely new lens. And so there is a translation that we get to extract, and it's like the alchemy of refining base metals to gold. We begin to refine a new translation for what control is, for what patriarchy is. We get to extract the wisdom and the reason of why it has manifested in our world. And once we've extracted the wisdom, and again, this can take time and take space, then and only then we can enter into the integration, to the distillation. And, we may ask, where are we now as a humanity? What stage of this greater genesis and cycle are we in? The distillation is, we need to cultivate the space now to distill, to refine our essence. And then once it's distilled, once it's refined, then we can unify with it. Because we cannot bring it into this gift, as Keone says, into this next age or cycle until we're unified with it, that it is now become unified within ourselves. And then and only then will we bear witness to who we are becoming. And this is akin to the alchemical gold, the ultimate quintessence of nature itself. And so I will leave you with this. it takes so much courage to come face to face with yourself. But this is why we're here. We are here to integrate and synthesize all facets of the human experience, all facets of our human intelligence, all contrasting expressions, that which is light, that which is shadow, and integrate it into a new unified substance, a substance that has never before been materialized. So this new age, it's never before been materialized, and we play a part in that. And I'm so grateful to be here with all of you, and thank you for receiving what I've shared. I know there's a lot in what I've shared, so I'm more than happy to answer any questions, to support any of you through any questions that you have towards the end of this workshop. Mahalo, mahalo Keone. Thank you everyone, and thank you all for receiving this.
Mahalo. Yes, Sister Neve, thank you so much. And for adding that thread of practicality too with this share. And, at the end of this ceremony, we will have like this space for everyone to ask questions if they would like. So please know that Sister Neve is open to answering any of your questions. Should you have any questions and just shares regarding what she's speaking of. I'm loving what you're saying about refinement, sister, and especially if we talk about involution, because a lot of what you were referring to as well, going into the nucleus of the spiral, has a lot to do with involution. However, involution comes to a point of maximum density, just as you spoke, and then we have to take that exhale. Now, this is aligning to what Kumu Ikemanu shared about holding the breath, allow it, endure. Hold the breath, be face to face with the reality of what we've been offered and what we have created. Not reject it or escape, refine it, involution, and then, what does involution turn into? Evolution. Now we are at this precipice of this new va, okay, where we must now take all those tools and our experiences and our memories and then transfer it into an evolutionary stage. Of course, we have got to become exposed, we have got to become brave, and we have got to let go. Let go. Pisces is not a possession. Aquarius is not a possession. We must be fluid with the ages. Thank you so much, Sister Neve. That was so potent. Mahalo, sister. Mahalo. Next, I would love to spotlight our brother Juan Reynoso, and of course, Brother Juan coming from an indigenous culture as well, where storytelling and really documenting the legacies of peoples and traditions and experiences are so incredibly important in really determining who we are as a people. Brother Juan, welcome, aloha.
Aloha, Keone. Aloha, everyone. Mahalo, Ayehan. Thank you for this opportunity. Can you hear me? We're good? Okay. I am just so humbled, so grateful to be in this community, to be sharing and learning in this energy, and to be integrating in this love and this sacred space that we have here today. Before I jump into it, I just wanted to introduce myself formally. Hauka, Memayuta Menyue, Winis Chui Juan, Matkopai, Sampasquakopai, Waipok Shamok. Hello, everyone. My name is Juan Reynoso. I'm from the Ipai Kumeyaay Nation in San Diego, California. And I'm just so humbled and grateful to be here today. So thank you so much for this opportunity. So with that, let's jump into it, right? I'm just so incredibly moved, and my goodness, I've been just in this moment so far have felt so much inertia, so much love, so much light in everything that has been shared, in the energy just from the opening. I mean, I was literally in tears, and those tears are tears of gratitude, tears of remembrance, tears of coming home. And so I'm so blessed and just really, really humbled to be able to sit in this space and this privilege, to hold space for my relatives who are no longer here in physical space, to know that their memory, their trauma, their love, their joy, their everything, their cell, their being, is within me. And I know what I need to do in terms of integrating that and moving forward. And so this is kind of what I'm going to talk about today, is about identity and how that really kind of sits in the place of who we are as people, and how we take that into our communities, into our homes, and this narration of boxing ourselves in these identities, and how the age of Pisces really has done this introspective time for us to sit with ourselves, to sit in ceremony, in sacrament, and whatever you want to call it. And while this has been a blessing for 2,000 years for us to go inward and for us to honor the past and honor where we have come from, it's incredibly important now that we uphold and we jump and encourage into what we have learned. It's no more sitting around waiting for something to happen. This is the time for you to stand in your ministry, in your voice, in your power. And so that's what I want to jump into today. I'm going to share my screen as just traditional practice in terms of just honoring where I am in my home and my space. I like to bring my family, my Mukenyue, elders from the community here when they cannot be in my space. And I'm going to play, it's called Takat. It's a bird song. And what's beautiful about bird songs in our community is bird songs are creation songs. They're actually called creation, and they were brought to us by Mayaha, the creator, in the form of a bird. And when we sing our bird songs, they're called cycle songs. They can go on for days, days upon days. And I want you to remember and hold on to that word cycle, because just like we are moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius and its predecessor, the age of Aries. Nothing it just stops. Just like our sister said before, we are constantly evolving and constantly integrating this new intrinsic internal blueprint in ourselves. And so everything is a cycle. Everything is whether you want to call it a birth or a death or a birth and a rebirth, we never stop. Whether we are in physical capacity, our spirits take that energy and take that cellular memory and that blood memory, and in red communities, in a lot of places we say blood memory, that cell memory. It holds on to that, and it's internal and it's intrinsic, and we pass that genetic information down to the next people, the next generations. And I really do feel that is what's happened in terms of where we've gotten stuck as a society. We have gone so into ourselves that we have failed to look at the beauty of the splendor of the collective, of the community. And so that's where we're moving into in terms of Aquarius. So I'm going to share my screen, and let me know if it doesn't work, because I sometimes a little off here. Okay, can you see that? Okay. So these brothers are from one of the other Kumeyaay nations. It's the Ipai Nation in San Diego South. And these are just very loved brothers. They bring the medicine of healing through song. And I just wanted to play a couple minutes with them to bring them here with us.
Ayo,
Whew. Thank you. Thank you for that. Still got some sound, right? Okay, good. Thank you. A little bit about that song specifically, and feel free. I love integrated chat. If you want to just type anything in there while we're going, please do. This song specifically, you might have heard a repetition and a pattern. And what that does in terms of our creation story is it reminds us to go back to where we were, to go back in remembrance, in honor and in memory of what we've learned and what we have gone through in this humble experience, and to take it with us and to take that medicine and then move forward into this next journey of ourselves. Not to just keep going, but to again come back into remembrance of those that have come and gone before. I like to think of ourselves, everyone on this call who's here today, as future elders of your own community. Even the little babies that walk into come into this earth as infants and toddlers. These are our future elders. These are our youth who are bringing that knowledge, who are mirroring what they learn from us as adults, as their community mentors. One thing I love about the splendor of youthfulness and of play is the going into and understanding that there's no discrimination with children. There's no ego with children. I mean, if there is, that they haven't had that EQ yet to really understand that. It's more of, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and I just want to be in community with you. So there's a lot to be learned from our future little elders that we as adults have forgotten. So in the chat, if you want to just throw a couple things, I want to ask you a couple questions like, who are you? If I were to come up to you and say, who are you today? Or who are you as a person? What would you tell me? Just feel free to throw that in the chat. Could be one word, phrase. Who are you? I see transforming. It's beautiful. Reflection. I am expanding awareness. A child of God. A torchbearer. Resilient. I am remembering. Oh, I feel that in my soul. Thank you. I am immersive. An embodied voice. Yes, thank you, thank you. And now this next question. Who and or what contribute to those thoughts, to that statement? Who and or what contribute to that thought or that statement, that identity? The wise people I have met along my journey. Conscious and unconscious experience, yes. The divine spark. Kumu says, my elders, yes. Thank you, brother. My blood and my cells. Thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, okay. Exactly. Everything. And if you notice the vast difference in our responses, some come from a very spiritual kind of awakening portion. Some come from a very reverent elder has passed this to me. Some comes from just eternal innate knowing, right? All of that, all of those experiences and how we show up has been a collection of everything before you and I have even come to this planetary piece here. It's every single thought and presence and existence before you and I were in physical form. I think it's incredibly important to recognize that as we occupy this space in our physical capacity here, our cells have that water memory. And when you think of Pisces, right, the age of Pisces, what Pisces is a water sign, right? And water holds this beautiful flow, this organized kind of pattern of moving in and out of areas with grace and sometimes with very volatile power behind it, right? And water, you put it in anything and it occupies that space, that container that it's in. So what I feel for the age of Pisces is for 2,000 years now, plus years, we have been moving through memory. We have been creating our experience in our individual containers, whether that be in our, and I love to use the term ministry because it kind of shakes up when, when I hear the term ministry, I think of, I think of like a religious sect, people use the word ministry are from this, religious group. And I love it because it loves to stir things up and it brings things to people to their awareness of why do I feel resistance to that word ministry. So I love to use and throw it out and recreate it. So when I say ministry, I'm talking about your purpose, your teaching, your calling, your medicine. And that is incredibly important. Is for 2,000 years, we have been crafting as a collective, as a society, our individual thoughts about what our medicine should be like and what it has been like, which has been a beautiful time for introspective inward work. I'm sure everyone has some type on this call of a practice every day where they may sit with themselves, they may journal, meditate, whatever it is that you do. That is you being introspective. That is you going into that age of Pisces, that age of control and constricting in a way that makes sense to you. And as we move out of that, that unrestricted ability, that unrestricted, courageous liberation of self, there's going to be a lot of pushback, and a lot of that pushback comes from yourself internally. That ability to tell myself, am I even worthy of occupying this space? Am I worthy of sharing my ministry, my testimony, my statement, my calling, my medicine? So really, this is where, and I'm sure you might hear this numerous times in the calls and other speakers and beautiful people we have today, is going inward really requires a sensitivity and an understanding of you, where you are currently in your place, in your walk, and then recognizing how you got there. Did you get there just one day you woke up and I'm here? Or has it been a collective of narrative experiences that have shaped you into where you are now today? I love to put this verse out here. I consider myself just kind of a person moving through the world in an ability to try to understand more people. I don't even sometimes like to say the word spiritual, right? I just like to say, I'm here and I am moving and I'm guiding and I'm loving and I'm accepting and I'm learning collectively from everyone that I come across. But I do love to put this, and if anyone here, is from a specific faith group, I just want to this is how I show up. I like to put things here and there. But what I find very interesting in terms of this idea of, Pisces coming out of a time where there was this religious wars, the age of Aries, war moving into, to organization. And what we learned from this kind of this extractive, my way or the highway, get out of my way, I don't want to hear you, I don't want to see you. We've brought in that into the age of Pisces. And we've brought in that memory into the age of Pisces. And what's beautiful about, if you think about for the last 2,000 years, right? When the teacher, whether you believe in this person or not, but in biblical texts, there, they say, Christ kind of gave the notion of the age of Aquarius before this age was here. And there's a beautiful scripture, actually, it's if you do follow the biblical text, it's in Luke 22:10, and it says to follow the man holding the water, like the water bear. If you think about the sign of Aquarius, the sign is a person, an entity holding this water jug, right? This bear of water. And what I think is so mind-blowing is, during the time when we were so fixated on creating our own little boxes of what makes sense to us, this is my religion, this is your religion, and we have divided in the name of, oh, I'm right and you're wrong, and this divided in the name of fear, because we fear things that are different, right? All along there was this call to follow this kind of water fluidity, this practice of coming into yourself, which is incredible. And I think when I read that, I was just so mind blown by the idea of that, wow, before we got in our own way, this was already a practice that was being manifested and spoken about in terms of awareness, saying, hey, you have that calling within you. You have that internal intrinsic power and that story. Your story is your power. Your story is your ministry, is your medicine. What I feel has happened as we've moved out of Pisces into Aquarius, as we move into it, we have either, and I want to say this with very, very much conviction, we have either expressed with brute power, or we have suppressed in fear our individual stories and narratives, which are the building blocks and have been the building blocks of our steps, our ministries, and our collective healing. So as we move forward, as we move into this age of Aquarius, as we move into our brilliance, into our love of self, into everything that we've taken in traditional practice, when I go out here and I speak in spaces like this, I bring Pisces with me. I bring the practices of my people. I bring that wisdom, because when I move forward, that practice, that medicine is still flowing through my cells, through my body, through my memory. And it's incredibly important that as we move forward, we don't forget, because everything as we move forward will again come back to the past. Where we are today in this present moment will one day be the past. We will be speaking in places like this outside of our existence in a time where, remember we had that conversation and we were talking about getting there. Well, we're here now. What do we do moving forward? And really, I do believe that as we integrate and we come into ourselves, whether that comes through meditation practice, whether that comes to reaching out to your communities individually, or reaching out to spaces like this container, this beautiful home that we have here, coming into yourself and recognizing that every single one of you is incredibly powerful and has been because of a collective knowledge and knowing that has been instilled into you even before you were even a thought or an existence on this plane. So my own personal kind of cry to humanity, to love, to all of you, is as you move into your spaces, ask yourself, what is the legacy that you pass along to the future generations? What is that memory? Do we want to continue to hold that memory of resentment, that memory of restriction and contractive thinking? Or do we want to say, you know what we've learned, and it's time to alchemize that. We're ready to integrate. We have been ready. We have to take that leap. We have to believe in our faith. We have to believe in our ministries and realize that what we do collectively is that transformative practice, is that liberation, is that that compassion for yourself. We have had compassion for the collective in the age of Pisces, for the tradition. Let's take that into this next phase and let's integrate that with ourselves and show up for ourselves, because at the end we show up for our community. I think that's pretty much it. It's kind of, I have 1 minute. I have my little timer here because I like to go on. As storytellers can talk for days. I just want to say mahalo piha ayehan maka maka keoni. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My brother, every one of you on this council, everyone here today, you have personally invested your time into this, and you have added to my ministry, to my story, and I will take that with me wherever I go. So thank you so much. Ayehan.
Ayehan, mahalo, brother. I love this depiction you have of the water bearer, right, pouring out, and we can even feel that as the water bearer pouring out this legacy of Pisces. And blessed be Pisces and our convictions of what this truly means for us, no longer in subjugation or subordination. And I really feel that you're speaking to this about coming into our own power, no longer determined by that censorship and conformity that many of us have steered into, but now really coming into the conviction of the self. And I love the word that you've used, ministry, the ministry of the self, right? I love that word ministry because it also suggests that I'm speaking it. I'm not just knowing it privately for myself. I'm speaking it. I'm sharing it. It's being offered as a gift and a contribution. And I feel that too, brother. I feel that we're at that precipice now where there has been such incredible gestation. And we have come to know certain aspects about ourselves. And now it's time to share that. It's time for us to speak, and especially going into what can be perceived as an intellectual era, an intellectual age, an air sign of Aquarius, right? Now the frequencies are Uanoa, wide and free, must be shared, must be seen, must be heard, must be known, not just by the self, but by all. Mahalo. Thank you, Brother Juan. And once again, Brother Juan, during our community sharing portion, we'll be open to answering any questions that you may have for our brother. Here's what I would love to do, friends. I would love for us to just take a little like shishi break, as we say, right? Kumu shishi break, just to use the bathroom and to have a little bit of water, maybe about 5 minutes. I'm going to play this beautiful song by Jackson Brown, Before the Deluge. And perhaps when that song commences, then we can come back and we can introduce our next speaker. Mahalo. Maybe. Yes.
Some of them were dreamers, some of them were fools, who were making plans and thinking of the future. With the energy of the innocent, they were gathering the tools they would need to make their journey back to nature. While the sand slipped through the opening and their hands reached for the golden ring, in their hearts they turned to each other's hearts for refuge. In the troubled years that came before the deluge, some of them knew pleasure, some of them knew pain, and for some of them it was only the moment that mattered. And on the brave and crazy wings of youth, they went flying around in the rain, and their feathers, once so fine, torn and tattered. And in the end they traded their tired wings for the resignation that living brings, and exchanged love's bright and fragile glow for the glitter and the rouge. And in a moment they were swept before the deluge. Let the music keep our spirits high. Let the buildings keep our children bright. Let creation reveal its secrets by and by. By and by. When the light that's lost within us reaches the sky. Some of them were angry at the way the deluge. Let the music keep our spirits high. Let the buildings keep our children dry. Let creation reveal its secrets by and by. By and by. When the light that's lost within us reaches the sky.
Ah, that lyric, when the light that's lost within us reaches the sky. And it's that huli ho'i, that makdas of all that contraction. And like Brother Juan was saying, and so many, and Sister Neve and Kumu Ikemanu was sharing about allowing ourselves to just open, to reverse that contraction and to become exposed in that light. So as you're all making your way back, mahalo, welcome back, friends. Thank you. I want to, bring up this conversation of Aquarius. And just like in Pisces, there was an opportunity for you to share in registration if you felt moved to. What does Aquarius feel like? And I want to make this really clear. It's not what we hope Aquarius will be. It's not an idealization of Aquarius, because that becomes very dangerous when we begin to subjugate or impose a narrative on an age that hasn't even begun yet. And the danger in that is that we're all going to be disappointed. We're all going to be dissatisfied because we're creating a fantasy around an age to cater to what makes us feel comfortable. And so, of course, first and foremost, deeming the compatibility and sufficiency of Pisces. This is where we are, and it's plenty. It's sufficient. It's a gift. Blessed be Pisces. When I speak about like Aquarius, I'm even talking about the primordial and primeval. This is a reality comprised of cycles. Aquarius has happened before. It's latent in our DNA. So oftentimes when I ask people this, I say, what do you remember of Aquarius? And I would love to share with you on your behalf. Thank you so much to those of you who shared. Here's some of the translations of Aquarius. Liberation and community. Innovation. Self-realization, looking towards myself as the guide. Rebirth, sovereignty, release of victimhood. Connection. Movement, expansion, higher learning, and leadership. A recognition of creative potential. Emotional and intuitive innovation. Full disclosure, arrival, awakening. Collaboration, community. Unconventionality. Revolutionary love. Those are some beautiful memories. I would love to ask the Lahui, our community here, if you are willing to, what are some of the feels, some of the memories of Aquarius? Remember, this is not an idealization. What is your memory of Aquarius? Are you willing to share in the comments? Thank you, Elizabeth. I remember connection, community, activation, and integration of the high heart, changing our relationship to all life and the universe. Ooh, that's that expansion, right? That's that opening. This is pertinent to all life water tunnels. Beautiful. Expansive joy, joy, reconciliation with technology, electricity of the expansion, equality. Beautiful. You know, something that was brought up in several of these translations is two words that came up over and over again, and that is innovation and leadership. And if you were to ask me what I remember about Aquarius, it would be leadership. Here's the thing, remember now, coming out of a distortion of Pisces, which meant that leadership is exclusive. There's only room for a few leaders who get to determine how everyone experiences life. Now, coming into Aquarius and this recognition of a memory of Aquarius means that now there is more than enough space, air sign, intellect, there is more than enough space for every single one of us to become a leader. I believe Sister Sarah is going to speak a little bit about how we are even transitioning in our professional lives into entrepreneurship and leadership. We are no longer being subjected and subordinated by others who tell us how we should share our gifts, what our gifts should look like, how I should share with the community. We all have a memory and we all have a birthright to express that as a contribution. Another word that came up was community. Yes, as a contribution. Now, I want to ask this of some. Let's be really honest, okay? Let's feel into what we are hoping. Like, what am I hoping Aquarius is? Would you like to share? What am I hope Aquarius is? What is perhaps an expectation I have of Aquarius? That it's easy. Yeah. Yes, I hope it's easy. Full disclosure. Abundance, self-expression. Yeah. Okay. Light, freedom for all, peace, joy, and abundance. Abundance is a big word. Yeah, we all want abundance. Good. Let's hold on to that word right now. Abundance. Abundance of what? Of what? Right? That's the problem. We're not clarifying. Abundance of distortion, abundance of war, abundance of subordination. And so when we feel into this abundance, there's a fern called Ni'ani'aw, and it's the fern of abundance. And this is what the fern has taught me. It says, you're not being precise of what you deserve abundance in, right? And coming back to like this focus, what's most interesting and what's most relevant in my life? That's what's going to be most abundant. Okay, abundance of love, abundance of clarity, abundance of time, abundance of money. Yeah, and then we can even feel into money. Why is money important? Right? We have to be even clear about that. Why is money important? Right? Is it because it will support my gift? Let's be even clear about that, because then we go into lack and scarcity mentality when it comes to money. Presence. Abundance of presence. Wow, that's beautiful. Abundance of truth. Beautiful. Friends, let's hold these in our heart, okay? Let's maintain these questions for reflection and integration as we move forward, all right? And always remembering that this is not an idealization. Okay, this has to be based on an experience and based on a knowing, not an idealization. And that's why it's important for us to also review our hopes, okay, to ensure that the hopes are not cravings. I'm not craving this. I truly deserve it. I deserve this. Okay, it's not a craving. Let's not bring craving into Aquarius. All right. I would love to continue on with our guest speakers here. Mahalo. So next we have our sister Jetem Cherie, coming from the Virgin Islands, and like these zodiacal aspects, which of course is super, super important for us to reference this transition. Sister, aloha Jetem.
Aloha, mahalo to this Ohana for being here, to you, Keone, for the invitation and for showing up in the true fashion of the Aquarian age as a leader and really being the purveyor and the permission for others to step into leadership. Thank you so much. My name is Jetem, and I'm so grateful to be here with you all today and speaking on the zodiac, speaking on the celestial correspondences, some of the ancient civilizations, and a little bit of etymology so that we can understand the way that we are spelling ourselves daily into our reality, using the base definitions of what these words mean to understand how we are creating our future and our current reality. I'm going to go ahead and just start a share screen so that I can get right into it. And give me one moment. Okay, let's go. In each age, there are worlds of layers. There are legacies that carry over into the next epoch from the last, as many of our speakers have spoken about, from the age of Aries into the age of Pisces, and now as we transition into the age of Aquarius. What does this all mean? Aries as an energy carried a distinct flavor, for me at least, of passion, of red hot passion. And that can align itself to passionate war, which we definitely saw, or passionate love. And if we follow that thread into Pisces, we can see that we did carry over the thread of passionate war, as seen in the violent age of combat that our ancestors and many of ourselves have experienced and witnessed. We also see that the thread of passion weaves into the age of Pisces could be interpreted as a thread of worship and exaltation, as Keone has spoken into. And it was a worship of externalized notions of religion, patriarchy, this word that keeps coming up over and over again, and possession. And so what I'd like to speak into is that moving in this voided area, we're still kind of in between the veils of Pisces and Aquarius. And so right now we're taking off the blindfold because we see not only because of light, but due to the absence of light as well. And it is with this absence of light from an old age that's coming to a close, a portal that is squeezing us into the next oscillation of ourselves. This contraction in ancient mythology is known as the cosmic egg. And this cosmic egg is being gracefully and artfully cracked open by the serpent of wisdom and wonder, squeezing its contents, its matter, its energy with great force until the worlds are divided into two hemispheres, polarities, and what I like to call the new earth. And so this is the event. This is Hanana. And so in the regenerative genesis, which I'm so grateful that Neve has spoken so beautifully about, this is the cosmic egg. We see the bright revelation of a new age being birthed, or rather rebirth. A star is born, and as she shines her light, she gives permission for all other stars to light up the heavens with a luminosity that has never been seen before. I'd love to move into some of the tarot references that go between Pisces and Aquarius. And so as we can see here on the left, the tarot card that represents Pisces is the moon card. The moon card shows a full moon in the night sky positioned between two large towers. The moon is a symbol of intuition, dreams, and the unconscious, which is so much of what we experience in Pisces. Its light is dim and only slightly illuminates the path to higher consciousness, which is winding between the two towers. Now, in a lot of symbolism, the two towers are known as a portal of initiation. And so in the foreground of this Pisces as the Moon tarot card is a small pool, and it's representing the watery subconscious mind. There's a small crayfish here at the bottom, which symbolizes the early stages of consciousness unfolding. A dog and a wolf also stand in this grassy field, and they're howling at the moon, which is representing both the tamed and the wild aspects of our mind. Really this beautiful partition of duality and divine union, which to me are two sides of the same coin. And so the moon really indicates the time of uncertainty and illusion when nothing is quite as it seems. And as we move on to Aquarius, Aquarius is depicted, as the star in tarot. And so it's depicted as a woman, and she's holding two containers of water, one in her left hand, which is the subconscious, and one in her right hand, which is the conscious. She pours water out to nourish the earth and continue the cycle of fertility. It's represented by the lush greenery around her. The other container pours water onto dry land, and this is representing the five senses. Aquarius as the star is the personification of renewal, initiation, and a guide and guardian of the dimensions and the ages. The woman has one foot on the ground, representing her practical abilities and good common sense, and the other foot is in the water, representing her intuition and her inner resources and listening to her inner voice. She is naked, representing her vulnerability and her purity under the vastness of a starry sky. Behind her shines one large star, representing her core essence. And there are 7 smaller stars representing the chakras, the main chakras at least. The star card can really be represented, and really Aquarius can be represented as a naked high priestess who has thrown off her robes, revealing the divine feminine mysteries as she has nothing to hide or suppress anymore. She kneels down as if in prayer, pouring life-giving fluids on the land as well as the water. And so while the star card can be seen as a very feminine, intuitive card, very similar to the moon card, it is also a very practical way, an invitation of the senses and the fullness of our being to experience this age, not only in an intuitive and spiritual way, but also in a very physical and practical way. This high priestess is also known as the priestess of the silver star, which is known as Sirius. And Keone speaks of the star Sirius quite often, and I found this to be very profound. Sirius is known as the spiritual sun of our sun. So also the counterpart to this very masculine yang energy that we have in the sun is correlated with Aquarius kind of standing behind it. And I referenced the saying that says, behind every great king stands a great queen that is holding space. And so I really look to the tarot and the depictions and the symbolism of Pisces and Aquarius to give us kind of the mystery that's been hidden throughout the ages. These tarot cards really symbolize reconnecting our soul and our body with the divine, the celestial and the earthly influences, and the remembrance of our exalted origins, the desire for highest union and for highest service. The star card also represents the Greek god, goddess, whatever you'd like, of air. And of course, Aquarius is an air sign. And so as the god of air, the star symbolizes a brightness that is coming from the void, a remembrance from a place that we can't quite recollect, a bright twinkling wink from the cosmos that invites an exploration into the subconscious veils, into the mystery of something greater than us, or at least what we have been believed to be us. And so the darker the night, the brighter the star, and the darkness in this moment is our stage to shine. And so in the age of Pisces, which is the last constellation of the zodiac, it incorporates the symbol of the infinity sign, the yin and the yang, the light and the dark. Pisces being a perfect amalgamation of the duality of our essence. Interestingly enough, the star card, as we spoke about previously, is the 17th card of the tarot, which in numerology breaks down to an 8. And the 8 is also a representation of Pisces, the infinity sign, and the yin and the yang. And so everything is really connected. Everything has this past, future moment. And right now we're in the present. And so we're kind of looking back and bringing through what it is that we've remembered, what it is that we are remembering, and what it is that's coming up for us to remember as everything is connected. And as we go along, all of these destiny threads are being weaved and reweaved. Pisces is a water sign, and it is ruled by the planet of illusion, which is Neptune. Pisces is the sign of the mystic and is symbolized by the two fish, as we said before, swimming in opposite directions, similar to the infinity sign. Pisces is being, Pisces is flavored with the ruling planet of Neptune, which holds sway over our dreams, the subconscious, our fantasies, and all things that are magical and enchanting. And so this age of Pisces and ultimately Neptune intensifies our vision and highlights our psychic and mediumstic abilities. So I like to think of this as mystery schools, secret societies, Library of Alexandria, sorcery, pantheon of the gods, creatures of myth and lore. And however, the duality of Neptune can also include the flavors of dishonesty, of vagueness, unclarity, confusion, and also highlights areas where we may be more gullible than others, or where we may have something that we feel we need to hide. Neptune's astrological symbol is a trident, and I know a lot of us have seen this before depicted as the Greek god Poseidon. Poseidon carries a trident, which he uses to stir up the waters. This creates storms, unrest, and tempests. The reason for this is ultimately to lead to change, evolution, creativity, and new ways of being, thinking, and doing. I like to think of this as Atlantis vibes. There is this stirring of the cauldron so that we can create new ways. We kind of need a shakeup, a challenge for us to be able to think of new ways outside of the box. And so when the energy of Pisces is working positively, we are in a dreamy reverie. We're thinking about what's infinitely possible, available, and ready to be magically created. When it's in a negative aspect, emotions can overwhelm us. Lies cover the truth, and emotional storms can cloud and obscure even the simplest of issues. And I feel like this sounds like a very similar and familiar theme from the last 2,000 years, where just the truth and emotional storms have kind of just been clouding our perceptions. And our brother Keone shares Pisces in some aspects has been utilized as an age of worship, and the worship of that which is externalized outside of us, and that's just not within. And so this can be seen in the depiction of the two fish, once again, of Pisces in its symbolism, swimming opposite each other, trying to find balance, harmony, reconciliation with the path of purpose. Ultimately, looking for divine union in an age that doesn't necessarily glorify divine union within and without. And so right now, I believe we're in this moment of moving through the portal, searching for that which is a personalized prayer, looking for the divine union first within, and then within our neighbors and our community and our collective. The age of Pisces is always with this taste of Neptune as its ruling planet. And the ruling planet Neptune is known as the planet of mist, the planet that kind of clouds, that makes things not so much as they would seem. It's governing the use of allegory and myth, and also oral storytelling, which helps us to escape the mundane, the everyday reality, and to enter into a more ideal heavenly state of an archetype and ancestral soul weaving. And so, speaking of soul weaving, enter stage left for water bearer is Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is about service and devotion. Devotion being a similar thread to worship, but the opposite of the coin. And so we have these light and dark aspects, negative and positive aspects, and there's no value judgment because it's all energy, but it's all coming from a place of authenticity, or at least this is the invitation with the age of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is a fixed air sign, and so why is it known as the water bear? And I personally am an Aquarius, and I believe Keone is as well. So these questions have always been really intimate for me. And so for this question, we return to the ancient origins. We go back to ancient Babylonia. The Babylonians were the first to actually name the zodiac signs. And so they called Aquarius the Great One, and they wrote it as Mul-gu-la. Okay. The Great One was an infinite being who poured overflowing vases of celestial sky juice over the cosmic mountaintops and irrigated the fields of worlds below. The constellation of the Great One in Sumerian cuneiform text is the oldest form of historical writing we have known to man. And so the term Gula is derived from the Sumerian word gal, which at its simplest level means great or big. It can also signify leadership, and it also refers to a large cup or bowl. And I like to think of this as the Holy Grail, which we'll get into a little bit later. The gu specifically appears to depict a cup that has a sign or glyph that means to share or to be divided. And the law sign can be used to write plenty, exuberance, and wealth. And so the ancient original form of Aquarius means great, big, sharing of exuberance and wealth. And an interesting fact is that the oldest form of Gula that we can find in any of the cuneiform texts was in the feminine form, and it was used as the ancient divine origin applied to goddesses as the gatekeepers holding open stylized doors. As you can see in this picture, these gatekeepers are also be seen as pillars of initiation. And so you see an Aquarius goddess with her vase pouring out the floodwaters through the pillars of initiation. The creatrix pillars that can be seen as the yoni, the feminine waters of the goddess being birthed to a new world. The constellation of Aquarius is found in a region in the sky known as the sea, once again bringing in the fluidity, the waters, the great birthing, the amniotic sac. And curiously, Pisces also resides in the same region known as the sea. Aquarius is that flood of opportunity that urges us to excel and to exceed boundaries, to reject limitations which are not intentional, and sacred service and of divine will. I believe that this age, and really as we're moving into this age, to humbly invite the obliteration of limits, rules, regulation, mandates, obstacles, glass ceilings, and boundaries that don't serve the heart of humanity as a collective. I'm going to be speaking a little bit about the numerology of Aquarius and Pisces. And so moving out of Pisces, Pisces is a number 12 and into the 11th sign of Aquarius. And so I know, or maybe I hope everyone understands that we're using the constellations and moving them backwards, going through the precession of the equinoxes, the zodiacs are going backwards. And so we're in the 11th sign, which is Aquarius, and there are 11 other planets creating 12 total. And so this number 11 is a constant reminder for us. And 11 is a master number. Any numbers like 11, 22, 33 are known as master numbers. And so 11 is known as the illuminator, the messenger, and the teacher. It's a karmic number which symbolizes the principles of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. It's the number of the visionary and of self-expression and mysticism. Here's this word again, mysticism. Now, as we said earlier, Pisces was the age of the mystic, and Aquarian age relates to mysticism. I relate this as an omen, which relates to an activation of the gifts that we received in the age of Pisces, where we learned how to become the mystic. And now we are being asked to utilize those gifts of mysticism as we move into the ultimate age of utilization of Aquarius. This age is like a genetic memory of all the mystical abilities gleaned in our bloodline that comes alive to be remembered, to be rooted and risen in this new portent of Aquarius. The number 12, as we spoke about, being the number of Pisces, is the product of the sacred and the secular, its determination and its definition. And this is all about motivation, progress, duality, diplomacy, sensitivity, and patience. Also, the number 12 breaks down into a number 3 in numerology, the number of the Trinity, the building blocks of our existence. 3 in numerology is also known as the great communicator and carries creative potential of regeneration, and it can struggle. It can struggle with a hindrance of old habits, lack of focus, lack of discipline, naivety, and egotism. While 11 breaks down into a 2, which is the number of divine union, of partnership, connection, and resonates with the vibrations of duty, devotion, and support, faith, and trust, and also of living your divine purpose and your soul mission. However, 2 does also have a backside to it, a flip side, which can resonate with indifference, the inability to take responsibility, dependency, hesitation, instability, insensitivity, stagnation, and also fear. And I think we can all realize that we're in this moment, this portal, where fear is such a huge theme for us. The fear of unplanned changes, of making mistakes, of being alone, and the fear of the unknown. And so we see the reflection of duality with this new era as everything has its twin, its unionized counterpart, its mate, and its other half. Once again, validating the theme of divine union, which is the thread of the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, the infinity that we pulled through from Pisces. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to marry these two and to truly come into divine union within ourselves, within the collective, within this epoch, to bring the harmonious heralding of the highest emanations of all of these energies. And so as we approach the age of Aquarius, we approach with reverence, with remembrance, with reconciliation and reclamation of our unadulterated divinity. The worship of that which is sacred in this body can be defined as ultimate devotion. In this moment and in this time where we have incarnated to mobilize a planetary shift, that's why all of us are here. That's why we're all on this call. It's a recognition of our connection to the infinite, to each other. And it's not just our connection, but it's our creation from, through, and of the infinite, that we are infinite. I'm just going to move into the etymology and the symbolism. And so Pisces is Latin for fishes. And the Vesica Pisces, which I'm sure many of you have heard in relation to Pisces, is known as the vessel of the fish. It's the intersecting circles representing the union of forces. And as we can see here on the slide in the flower of life, it's the spirit and the body, the masculine and the feminine, and the thread that weaves us all together. The carrier of information is Pisces. And it's known as the little fish. And it's going into what? The cosmic egg, which is the flower of life. And this is the cycle of fertility, death, and rebirth. In Greek and Roman, Celtic, and many other mythologies, the Vesica Pisces was associated with the divine feminine, and was a mythical connection, or had a mythical connection to the fish. Once again, it was understood as a token of fecundity and procreation, and just again that renewal of life. And as you can see here, the Sheila Nagigs, which are these beautiful stone depictions that are on many churches and sacred sites throughout England, Scotland, and Ireland. And the Vesica Pisces is overlaid over the yoni. And this can be interpreted as the fish, also known as the sperm, going into the feminine iteration of the goddess. And this is the cycle of life and rebirth. And so many ancient texts refer to the Fisher King legends. Maybe you have heard of these legends that imply that the reigning king is unable to sustain or support the further generations that will carry on after his death due to a wounding of his manhood. And I like to liken this to some of the negative aspects that we have talked about and brought in the patriarchy. It almost feels like a wounding of manhood. And so in the early versions of the legends, the kingdoms and the land suffered due to the king's impotency or the inability to fertilize the lands, reducing it to a barren wasteland. And of course, how will the king fertilize the lands without his queen? How are we going to fertilize and bring renewal without both dualities and polarities, without uniting them? And so I see this as an interpretation of the wound of the patriarchy of the age of Pisces, the age of the Fisher King, the inability to sustain such a lineage with unilateral fruition. And for there to be complete balance amongst the realm, there must be a continuation of the holy grail of life. Aquarius, the vessel of water, the watery womb, and the air that flutters new life into existence. And so in closing, it is my profound belief that Aquarius and the age of Aquarius and all of us that are traversing this portal into this age of air, this is the Holy Grail. The search for the bloodline, the lineage, the genetic memory of source, of God, goddess, that is gifted back to us as we begin our rise into the golden age, pulling through the threads of the last epochs that were not utilized or were not expressed, or maybe they weren't utilized or expressed in their highest form. Aries has a contraction as a war culture, but the expansive lensing is passion. So pulling the thread of passion from Aries, pulling the prayer from Pisces, all into Aquarius to help us pardon, forgive, love, and empower ourselves in this air of prayer, in this age of inheritance of this now moment, this here moment, this present moment. The age of Aquarius is the return of the Magi. It is the return of the magic. It is the return of the Magdalens, and it is the return of the Messiah in each and every single one of us. We are saving ourselves and we are saving each other, and we are being held in the womb of existence, pouring out the satiating amniotic sac, the royal blood being poured out over the world. This is Aquarius, with the vase pouring out, rebirthing our evolution, reinstating our remembrance, reigniting and reawakening our divinity, our connection and our relationship to the holy within and without. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for feeling, for being. This is our time. We wouldn't have incarnated here if we weren't brave souls. And we're all ready. Let's go.
Mahalo, Jatem. So lit. Mahalo for that, my sister. I am really loving how you had described Pisces as this state of unconsciousness, but in this really beautiful way of unconsciousness, which is that thread of dreaming and being able to dream, right? And when you can feel into dreaming, it's also feeling into discerning, and then coming into Aquarius as the initiation. Now it needs to become embodied, right? We have to go place ourselves now. How is that dream? How is that fantasy going to become a reality? So coming from the state of unconsciousness, gestation, and then coming into initiation, embodiment. And Brother Juan spoke a lot about this when he was talking about, now it's time for us, right, to go into that ministry, to become that medicine to which we are, not just idealize who we are, but to become it. Beautiful. Mahalo, my sister. I would love to now bring into this dialogue Sister Sarah Rhinelander, tuning in from Uruguay. And, you know, Sister Sarah has something really, really unique to share, which is really like this transition into almost like mecha culture and machine, okay? Talking about how now we're going to start participating with a lot of these more electric and electrified kind of connotations of this age to which we're shifting into. Sister Sarah, aloha.
Aloha. Thank you so much, Keone. I am just feeling this so much kind of coming and filtering into my own field and really receiving a lot of the codes that have been shared here. And I want to also appreciate everyone for being here and for taking the time to be really resourcing yourself and resourcing ourselves collectively in this time of transformation. And I just, like Chitem, that was, it's like a whole download that you just gave. And one of the things that was really coming through so strongly was this portal, this birth, that we are in the birth canal. We are like actually moving through this space. We are not like on one side or the other. We are in this place of pure potentiality. And when we go through this birth canal, we will be, as you shared, like splitting. This is cell division. It's like the cell division of the human, of the human family. It's like some of us are going this direction and some of us are going this direction. And so what I am going to share, and really excited to bring some of my medicine in around, is actually the financial paradigm. How can we concretize, like, so, you know, it's very easy to kind of feel and dream and experience and like have these internal aha moments and like this internal illumination that's coming, but how do we bring it into this world that we're living in right now? And what is actually happening in the structural reality of humanity in this time? And so I'm going to kind of roll us back here and just give like a little storyline, like a little story arc. And I do have the tendency to kind of like weave around, and so just follow me here on this journey. I don't have any slides, just have my own internal guidance here. And Keone had posted the other day a little post where he really kind of outlined the last few ages that we've been through. And about 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, we were in the age of Taurus, which was material. It was like really coming into the material world. And that is the age that money really came into the material world. Money was birthed in the age of Taurus when we were moving from being hunter-gatherers and kind of, you know, in this space to actually coming in and having agriculture. And then in the age of Aries, as we've talked about, money became the vehicle through which leaders, these leaders, these top-down structures could protect and could dominate and could create war and could take and could occupy and could invade. And it was actually money that really kind of came into its like it began to bear this cross. It became weaponized. And so what happened? So we created this structure as humanity that began to actually harvest energy from humans in order to serve the power structure and to fund these wars. So now we're in the age of Pisces, and we are continuing to live this legacy of top-down structures. We are continuing to live this legacy that Keone was speaking about of exclusive leadership that we have. You can see in so many of our structures now that are in our actual physical world, that there is somebody external to us who we have been indoctrinated to listen to before we listen to ourselves. This is you can see it in the school system. You can see it in the financial system. You go to school, you listen to the teacher. You are there to conform and to homogenize to what is happening external to you. Exactly, programming. In the financial system, you go to the bank. If you have, you have a boss, you have to ask to be hired. You need to show your credentials. You need to show your resume. You have to show and prove your worth so that someone will take you and hire you so that you can make money, right? And that's where some of this harvesting starts to come in. We can see it in the medical profession, that my own internal relationship with my body is not as important as what my doctor says. And I'm not, maybe I'm kind of imagining that most of us in this Zoom right now we are not so deeply indoctrinated into these structures. We are the ones who are moving from this top-down structure. We're the ones who are birthing this decentralization. But what happens with these top-down structures is, again, that we lose our magic. We lose our connection to our medicine. And that has been the legacy of Pisces that has been, I think, the most insidious, some of the most tragic legacies that we carry is that so many people now are so disconnected from who they really truly are, because we have all been, the gravity of this homogenization is so powerful that it has pulled the collective out of our own sense of who we are, where, we can at least know and embody our magic, that we're being pulled to the center of homogenization where there is only suffering. When we are not living, and Keone is such an incredible, he really brings this energy through, that when we are not living our own sense of who we are, when we are trying to live up to or to perform and be in this performative culture, then we cannot be free. We cannot be at peace. We cannot experience joy because we are always trying to prove that we belong to the larger structure according to other people's rules. So this is the kind of the setup here. And so I'm going to take a pause before I go any further, and I'm going to ask you, because this is the birth, this is the signal of the birth canal. And Keone and I were talking about this the other day. For me, the signal of the real entrance, like transition, any of you who know birth, that the moment when the woman says, I can't do this anymore, is the moment that the midwife knows that she's in transition and that the full dilation has happened and that the birth canal is being entered. And so one of the many signals to me that we are in this incredible ripe time of transformation, and often, as we are experiencing the disintegration of the known, it can be painful, right? But this is the most fertile time that we've ever been in to create the new. So I'm going to ask you all to just give me a signal in the comments here if you have yet come across this experience that's happening now, which has been named the Great Resignation, or AKA the Big Quit. So just type a 1 if you've heard of the Big Quit, or type a 2 if you're part of the Big Quit. So what's the Big Quit? What is this? Yeah, I'm seeing like all these people are like, I'm part of the Big Quit. Like, I am exiting this matrix. I am no longer available to plug into top-down structures that tell me how to show up, when, where to be, how long to work, how much they're going to pay me, right? how long I have to drive in traffic, that I have to beg to plug myself into a system that, and we can see this all over, you know, and I saw this conversation going on in the comments here about like service and service to self and service to humanity. Well, we all have been encoded with magic and with gifts, just as Jitem was sharing. And when we are in financial depletion, it is extremely, extremely difficult to resource and reveal those gifts. So the big quit, for any of you who haven't heard of it, the big quit is this phenomenon that in the past 5 months alone, 20 million people have left their jobs voluntarily. They have walked out. They have said, you have pushed me too far. I will not accept your mandates. I will not accept your structures. I have inherent value. I have inherent gifts, and I'm going to orient myself towards those so that I can, by living my gifts, by fully expressing my gifts, then I can seed and be that overflowing vessel of, I love what you said, that overflowing vessel of like amniotic, what did you say, Jitem? Like, I mean, just like star explosion, right? That we have within us the power to walk in the world in this way and be, and oh, I did write it down, to be the great big sharing of exuberance and wealth. So how do we make this transition from being in this top down, being so indoctrinated? And I also want to bring in here that there's been so much programming that has really from the inside out, because of all the trauma, because of all this, like, you know, the weaponization of money in many, many ways, that a lot of us are still living the residual experience of, I don't want to have money. I don't want to interact with that energy. I'm afraid, or I feel guilty, or that's bad, or I don't want to be one of those people, right? And so one of our tasks right now is to unlearn that. It is to unplug from those programmings so that we can become the bearers of clean power, of clean money, that we can be rewarded for sharing our gifts, for bringing goodness into the world, that we can start to revoke and and deconstruct this myth that money itself is evil, because that is a myth. That is something that has been taught to you so that you are easier to control, because you don't have that, because you don't want that, because you won't take that. So how are we going to do this? Well, number one, the number one way that we are going to reweave our relationship with our gifts, our relationship with our money, our relationship with our world, where we can really move into this decentralized community, out of this structured top-down, tear-down experience, and into a place where we are flowing with each other, supporting each other, where money is created based on the quality of life of humanity and is no longer controlled by power structures who are harvesting our energy and pitting each other against each other, right? So the first piece is really dropping in and getting clear on what your version of this new world looks like. What are you here to experience? What does this world feel like to you? Spend time in the silence so that you can actually receive the information that wants to be birthed through you, the version of you that is ready to come through. So number one, and this is, you know, I work with this energy. I help a lot of people like restructure their financial reality. And it's amazing how many people that I speak to on a daily basis that have, if I ask them the question, if you had unlimited money, what would you do? What would change for you? And the spell is so thick that many, many of those people look at me like, what? What do you mean? No, what? Like, because we have lost our ability to dream. And this time of the Pisces is the dreamer, right? Many of us have checked out even of the dream because there's so much trauma there. So we do need to like in this time of Pisces, in the time of transition, we need to bring the dream with us. We have to locate our dream and bring it through the portal so that it comes with us. Don't leave your dream behind. Find your dream, number one. Number two, cultivating the courage to take the steps that are necessary to change the way that you are orienting yourself to the power structure so that you begin to pull out of that orientation to the external authority and move into the internal authority. Move into the space. And this is a practice. This is absolutely a practice. You know, it takes commitment and devotion. And then the third piece is, you know, starting to really access some of the beauty and some of these pieces that are already coming in from the Aquarian age, including entrepreneurship. The internet itself has created the playing field that now allows us to build wealth, to create money on our own without needing. Information is now everywhere. We can all get the information for free. The secrets have been revealed. You don't need a financial planner anymore. You can go on YouTube and find out how to do all the things that they're going to charge you however much money to do. You know, you do not need to be plugging into these structures. And instead, you can start to lean into this place of decentralization, lean into this place of, you know, how can I show up as an individual in my gifts in relationship to the community. And another piece that I did want to bring in here is, you know, is that, for example, cryptocurrency is an amazing example of what's going on in this space of decentralization, where it is it's a vehicle and it's a philosophy that says, you know, we can take the power and the control back from these structures that have been harvesting our energy in the name of war. And we can own our own money. We can actually own and circulate our own money within the community without needing to plug in to the structure and without needing to like put it behind the veil and have no freaking idea what's going on back there, right? So cryptocurrency really is one way that allows us to take our power back as individuals and to create this new future. And, you know, online entrepreneurism is another, you know, beautiful way that we can, there's so many different ways to create this new reality and this new sense of value. And in my particular profession 7 years ago, I've been working in the space of network marketing, which is also a very futuristic business model and came way ahead of its time. And it's exactly that. It's the decentralization within community. So we are, I think I want to close it out with this, which is that you are an extremely powerful being. You are infinitely powerful. And what you need to do now, what we all need to do now, is to cultivate the courage to face the dissolution of everything that we have ever thought or known to be true, and to embrace the transformation and to carry the vision and the dream into the new world. And I also want to really guard against or invite you all to watch the space of division, because decentralization and division can be very, you know, we don't want to go into the shadow of Aquarius, which is cold, drawing away, in like hyper individualism. Like, you know, we have the opportunity here to bring in the dream, bring the dream through and weave it into the community. And when we're in the birth portal, one of the medicines of birth is that this incredible amount of energy and intensity that's flowing through us can be translated through our system as pain or as orgasm. It's the same energy, and the choice is yours. We all have the opportunity to suffer through this transformation or to explode in like pleasure as everything is moving into this new place. So orgasms for all, Sister Tam, woohoo! So I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here, Keone. I just really am like, you know, when you asked me to participate, I was so grateful and honored. And, you know, we're the ones, we're here to do it. So let's have fun doing it. All right. Aloha. Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Mahalo. Mahalo, Sister Sarah. Thank you so much. You know, I love what, from what you're sharing is this permission for us to, or this invitation for us to not react. And especially when we all get swept into the thrill that is full disclosure. And that is exactly what's happening. And it's very thrilling. There are tendencies for many of us to react, but giving ourselves the invitation to just allow ourselves to be in the center, the nucleus of that swirling and all that debris, and allowing that debris to just settle so that we can proceed in a more responsible way. Thank you so much for this mana'o. And, you know, also, I just want to touch too on the Ethernet and technology and how this is a tool of full disclosure for many of us. But just like that of the books and any of the other archaic forms of disclosure, we have got to be responsible with how we're resourcing it and how we encourage it. It is just another mechanism of us to share. This one just happens to be a lot more gigantic and huge because it can touch so many simultaneously in the now moment. That's how rapid the oscillation is right now. And for a lot of people who don't have the ability to withstand that, there's going to be epic collapse. There's going to be a lot of revolt because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, it's inconvenient. So if we could all just allow ourselves and give ourselves permission and the invitation to not react. Yes, mahalo. You know, our thank you, and Sister Sarah is available during our community sharing to answer any and all of your questions. Mahalo, thank you, Sister Sarah. Shifting into our last speaker here, coming in from England, Sister Kamala, who's a sound alchemist. And, you know, a lot of everything that was shared from all these beautiful guest speakers, you know, there's a lot of things swirling around us right now. And a lot of what is being shared in comments and how everyone is showing up right now. And this is just a wonderful opportunity for Sister Kamala to come on, offer us a toning, and to let all that debris land. Kamala, girl.
Hi, everyone. Just checking sound is okay, Keone. Is everything good? Brilliant. So, wow, a lot to reflect on, to take in. So just in this offering, just to really allow yourself to receive the sound. It's a space of reflection. It's a sound activation. It's about this pure potential that we have always. It's about choice, remembering, reawakening to our divinity, to become the medicine, from dreaming to embodying, to initiating, to become clear on your path and your gifts, to become the magic, to birth the new earth. Get really comfortable. Let the sound move through you. Whatever you need from the sound, you will receive. Soften. Soften the body. Soften the mind. Nothing to do now but to receive. single day an opportunity to rebirth. And in this awareness, the new earth emerges. Just noticing the breath once more, how it moves in the body, becoming aware of the body more and more. Maybe notice your fingers and toes, begin to move them, begin to stretch. Begin to notice the space beneath you, your body's contact to that space beneath you. Begin to deepen your breath as you arrive back more into more denser form of your being, moving from the subtle to that beautiful physical temple that you are. Beautiful sound blessing delivered by the crystal bowls, alchemy bowls. So they infuse with crystals, helping us to shift energy, unlock. So thank you, crystal bowls, and all the crystals here in the Healing Lodge. It's medicine. It's like the ferns. There's so many tools to help Earth in this new age. So many tools and people. Yeah. Over to you, Keone.
Mahalo. Thank you so much, Kamala. and for supplying us with that beautiful harmonization for all of this to just land and deepen our discernment, deepen our experience, deepen our remembrance, deeper our knowing, and deepen our conviction. You know, transferring the medicine to which Kamala has offered to us, which I really feel is harmonization. I want to ask this one final question before we shift into community sharing. And if you feel moved to, I'd be so grateful if you would share feeling into harmonization of Pisces, everything to which you are ma'a, you know of Pisces, and everything to which perhaps you have been inspired by today, everything to which you know of Aquarius, and perhaps that to which you've been inspired today. If you could choose a word or a simple phrase which represents the harmonization of Pisces and Aquarius, friends, what would you share? Union, hope. Knowing that this is the bridge, and Sister Sarah was talking about the birth canal. This harmonization is that birth canal of these two ages experienced simultaneously. Arrival, authenticity, sovereign, sacred union, self-love, synchronized. The birth canal of all ages, present, legacy. How do we make Pisces and Aquarius friendly with one another? How is it compatible with one another? It's as if it's an introduction of ages. We're introducing the ages to one another, making this transition as friendly as possible. Collaboration, respect, fluidity. Mahalo. Mahalo for these shares, my friends. I would love to open up this space now to the Lahui, to all of you. We, of course, have these wonderful guest speakers who are present to answer any of your questions, should you have any, including myself. I have Kumu Ike Manu here as well. Bra, we made it happen, bra. We made them happen. Okay. And any shares that you have that you just want a witness, because we are your lahui. We want to hear what you have to say too. So I will open up this space now. And if you feel moved to, you can either write something in the comments, or you can unmute yourself. Mahalo.
Aloha. Mahalo, Brother Keone, and everybody who spoke. It was so amazing, and it was like a confirmation for what I've been feeling and going through these past months. So I just wanted mahalo all of you. I have to go pick up my keiki now, so I just wanted to say that. Ahui ho, love y'all.
Hui ho, love you, Sister Summer. Mahalo. Thank you for being in ceremony with us today. And thank you for just popping on and making your presence known and offering your gratitude. We appreciate you, my sister. You are seen, you are heard. Thank you for your contribution of presence. Aloha ma.
Aloha ma. Oops.
Aloha. I think I'd just like to say thank you to everyone. And I think what I would like to say is that what I took away from today was that a lot of what I have been hearing has made me feel that there is sort of a conflict between Pisces and Aquarius. And what I hear today is that there doesn't have to be a conflict between Pisces and Aquarius. There is a transition between Pisces and Aquarius, and we can take with us things from Pisces to Aquarius. And there have been good things from Pisces, and we have learned them. And if we have learned them and developed, or I feel like I have learned a lot and developed during that time. And it feels like a natural time for me to say, oh, yeah, the sort of discomfort that I felt during Pisces is now, of course, we're going into Aquarius. And I notice that there is still a lot of programming and things that I need to leave behind or get out of. But there isn't sort of this duality of a good bad, which I sometimes feel from a lot of the outside. So I really appreciate that, the context of what we feel. We want to bring forward those good things into Aquarius. It's like talking about our ancestors and bringing that lovingly forward to the new generation. So I really appreciate that. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Sister Karen, and mahalo for sharing about this transference from Pisces into Aquarius. And I want to remind everyone, there's still time. We're still in Pisces. Now is the time to gather the highest qualities of Pisces. And then, like Brother Juan was saying, create a ministry of it. Let's start to embody that. It is in the embodiment do we transfer responsibly, effectively, and efficiently into a new age, offering ourselves as a gift into Aquarius. Bro, there's no greater gift. I can offer myself. There's no greater gift. Now's the time. Let's start to acknowledge, locate, and then embody the highest qualities of Pisces. Blessed be Pisces. Mahalo, Sister Karen. I love you.
What's up, you guys? My name is Andrea. I am super honored to be here. Thank you so much to all the speakers. I think that, the dialogue today really cleared a lot of stuff up for me and provided a lot of validation. It's super, super important, I think, to understand, to not have that dichotomy really between the Aquarius and Pisces and moving into Aquarius, and not, have, or just try to do our best to be conscious about that illusion of separation. And something that I've been working through really, really closely, especially during this time of year, with the death and rebirth of everything, is working with my own ancestors. And part of that comes with a lot of anger. 3 of my 4 grandparents survived a genocide in the Middle East. So what we were saying about holy war during the age of Pisces really, really resonated with me, because this genocide was a religious genocide. It wasn't so much about money or land. It was more about faith, right? So when you have that kind of intergenerational, when you carry that intergenerational trauma from your ancestors. And that gets into epigenetics and everything of just trying to clear that, trying to let go of that anger, trying to let go of that dichotomy, and just step back into love. So I felt very validated in and also hopeful of this, looking forward to this new age that where I can step into a more like mindful way of clearing these issues instead of like holding on to the emotions so much. So thank you to everybody again, Efkaristo, to everybody who spoke and for facilitating this, Keone. Thank you.
Yeah, mahalo, Andreja. And thank you for speaking of this rapid ancestral karmic resolution. And I shared this before. You know how it works? The resolution of karmic ancestral resolution is it's by me determining in this moment right now that that is an old code. Old code. I am the contemporary code. And therefore, with me shifts that paradigm. Now I come into Aquarius with this clean slate, a contemporary code. And I love that you said, you refer to that we hold these paradigms as attachments because they become identities, especially when we talk about lineages and legacies. For us to let go of that identity. And you and I and all of we who are here now are equipped to cultivate a completely new contemporary code. And that begins right now, especially going into Aquarius, where it's about, like Sister Sarah was saying, entrepreneurship. We're not just entrepreneurs of our businesses, we're also entrepreneurs of our lineages. Now. Yeah, sister. I love you, sister. Aloha ma.
Hello, I'm with Neve and our origin group, and I just want to speak into something and that not everybody speaks into, is that the darkness, I think, that's in everybody, and the light, that is, to embody it means to me remember it, and to remember it means to be it. So in essence, exploring the darkness of who you were in this universe is not something everybody wants to do. But in order to really move forward with Pisces, you have to explore the darkness in yourself and the light, both. And so I think that's maybe a missing ingredient in some of this, because we want to create peace, but in order to create peace, you have to find the peace inside yourself first. And that means going into your dark and into your light. And I just wanted to witness everybody to feel into that when I say it. So.
Sergey, mahalo, brother. Brother is bringing up a good point. Let's feel it this way. If we are moving into peace, here's the big question. Why are we not in peace? That's what our brother is referring to, right? Going into that really uncomfortable space. Why are we not in peace? If we're shifting into peace, how come peace is not here now? And so that is going into the darkness. When we go into the darkness, we can start to make honest resolutions, reconcile. And we can feel this with Pisces. What are the low qualities of Pisces, right? Subordination, patriarchy. What are the highest qualities? What is the interest? What is the relevance? Mahalo. Thank you, brother Sergey. I love you, brother.
Aloha. When somebody else speaking. I want to thank everybody. This has been so amazing. And I really wanted to speak on this of, somebody was sharing with me once that their grandparents always said, like, they were Jewish and their grandparents survived the Holocaust. And they say, never forget, right? You pass it on, never forget. And I think the reason people have been so resistant and so attached to stepping into the light, stepping into the positive, is that our ancestors have been embodying that darkness and like grasping onto it, right? Don't forget, pass it on, hold on to the pain. And it's like time to transmute that. It's time for us to say, like, okay, I witness your pain, right? I witness the suffering. I'm not going to carry it forward. It's not a curse that I want to continue to embody. And it's certainly not something I want to pass on to my children, right? Never forget, never forget. It's like, we can remember without embodying, and we can honor and witness in that space. And I think that's like the whole point of Pisces, is like not forgetting, right? We can't forget, right? It happened. We're aware, but like not embodying and transitioning out of that into upgrading, right? moving out and moving into it, and like honoring our ancestors in that way, and seeing what kind of ancestors we want to be, right? Like, what kind of a mother do I want to be? I think about that responsibility of being a mother. Like, fuck, it's a huge responsibility. Like, for me to say, like, I'm showing up for my child every day by healing my shit, so he doesn't have to never forget or never remember the shit that I'm passing on, and it's why community, finding each other again, like stepping into these spaces so our children don't have to be our therapists, like we were our therapists for so many of our parents, right? Like, this is the healing that we're doing for humanity by just like coming back home to this. So thank you, Keone. As always, I'm so grateful that you invited me today. I know this whole weekend has been divine. So I love you. Aloha. Thank you, everyone, for your words and speaking. It's been perfect and powerful. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, it's contemporizing a lineage, and that begins right here with me. And I love to say it like this and feel it like this. I wrap my arm around my entire lineage, and I say to this entire lineage, I say, I have a new way. I'm equipped. Come with me. You're invited. All aspects of this lineage, all distortions, all highest qualities, I invite you, come with me. This is an invitation. Someone has to make the first move. Guess what? It's just going to have to be me. Not a problem, honey. Right? And if we go into Aquarius, and many people feeling Aquarius is about leadership, boom, there's a leader right there. There's a leader. I'm not subjugated, but I'm also not dissociating. Just like Sister Sarah was saying, one of the low qualities of Aquarius is detachment, right? To be selfish, to be greedy. No, I wrap my arms around that lineage. I say, I have a new way. All are invited. Yeah, mahalo. I love you, Elizabeth. Aloha ma.
Brother Keone, could I speak on something really quickly? So in all these shares, first of all, again, incredible energy, love, just transformative experience. Thank you. As you were moving your body, and as I was hearing from Elizabeth, from Serge or Sergey, however I'm sorry how to pronounce your name, and Andrea, like, there is this responsibility to remember, but remember, like someone put in the chat, with clarity. That my mom always tells me this expression. She's like, you have to become the house of healing. You are the house of healing, and I think it's important when I reach out to my elders, and Andrea, what you spoke about really hit me, because I am a byproduct of years and years of genocide and erasure by my own other ethnicity, being biracial, where the Spanish came and colonized the Americas, raped and pillaged our communities and our women, and to know that, and missionize us under the name of faith and under the name of this is what you need to be. I am a byproduct of that. But when I look inward and I say, you know what, I don't have to carry this further. Like Brother Keone said, come with me. You become that house of healing. You become that vessel to bring the direct, your ancestors, yourself, into your spaces. And I always think about that, and like the brother said, the shadow is ugly. That discomfort, I have spent 2 years sitting in that ugly, in that dark, and it has become, I feel it. It has become the most transformative space for me. It has become the most healing space for me when I sat with my ugly. When I took all of that generational feel, that pain, that hurt, that not visibility, not being seen, not heard, I sat with it. And I said, Juan, what do you need to tell me today? How can I show up for you today? And it is not easy. I'm telling you, every single day I have to remind myself to give grace to that experience and not spiritually bypass, not attune out. I mean, honestly, be attuned to the experience and tap into it. So yeah, I'm really feeling that notion, that theme of you become the house of healing. You become your generation's house of healing. You become humanity's house of healing.
Wow, Juan, mahalo. And if you and I and all of we are living in a time of a great transition, which we are, that means we also have a kuleana, a responsibility. There is a great purpose why we are here right now. And so to be that house of healing, right? It's no longer exclusive. The house of healing is no longer subjected to just a certain few. It's all of us. And Sister Jatem said the words, Jatem, gula, the highest power. Yes, every single one of us are that gula. It just requires our recognition. That's it. Mahalo. I love you, Juan. I'm gonna call out someone, Jane, because I saw you pop on, girl. So are you willing to share something?
You. Aloha to everyone, and wow, mahalo. It has been such a pleasure to be here with you. And one of the things I first wish to presence is I really feel that I'm sitting in a council of young elders. And this feels like the deepest gift, just to witness the six of you and the threads that you've woven and the wisdom that you've remembered. And it feels like such an incredible, potent reflection. Mahalo. There's something that I want to speak that feels like it's been weaving its way through as I've been listening. And as someone astrologically in Western astrology, I have Mars and Venus in Pisces. My inner masculine and feminine are both in Pisces, and my sun is in Aquarius. So these are energies that I carry deeply in my being, and the transition between them feels quite strong. And it feels really important to name this. It's so strange that they're asking me to speak this, but to name this possibility of the transhumanist agenda and artificial intelligence and what arises in the shadow of Aquarius, right? This detachment and this obsession with technology and expansion that is possible in as we make this transition. And that really remembering ourselves as the heart of God, remembering the living life force that exists inside all of us, and really honoring that as sacred and holy, which I feel is the resolution of Pisces, is to remember the God self present in every living being, is the safeguard, is the protection, is like the stronghold, it's the lock and the key at just really ensuring that as we expand into Aquarius, as we expand into this realm of possibility and technology and creation for all beings, that we hold it to the living light, that we hold it to the sacred humanity of all beings. And so I really feel to name that. It's something I hold in my awareness. Especially as things have arisen in the past couple of weeks with this depth of technology. So yeah, I just really felt to share that. And I really feel one of the reasons I'm so in love with this lineage and this medicine is this aloha ma. We are the creator. So thank you all so much for being here and for receiving that as well.
Mahalo, Sister Jane. Aloha ma. Aloha ma, self-reflective love. It is the highest pinnacle of power, of sovereign power, which is then dispersed. Sister, yes, I want to, going into transhumanism, what is one thing that has been consistent throughout all the ages? Yes, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, on and on and on and on. What is one thing that has been consistent? It's been organic. Are we really going to be the generation that severs that? It has been organic. Blessed be the organic. We can cohabitate with the machines, but it is the organic that is the essential thing. Kamea nui. Mahalo for speaking to that. We can cohabitate with the brilliance that is the machines, but it is the organic that is the essential thing. I love you, Sister Jane. Aloha ma.
I love you.
I'd like to pop in on that. So I was like, I drew this after my share. I actually drew this little diagram, and you can see it's the birth canal. And then we've got on this side, we have pain and continuation of trauma. And that goes into disassociation, transhumanism, like the harvesting of energy, like the full thing of the matrix, like the babies in the, just getting like the, that. And then this side is the pleasure, which is exactly what Juan was saying, which is doing our inner work, like moving through, like sitting with that and not caring. Because I feel like that's the consistency that has brought us into the lower realms of each age, it's the collective trauma. It is that intergenerational trauma that has been passed for the past 5,000 years of human, of all of these things, that we all carried this in our bloodlines. Every single one of us. There's no human on the planet at this point that hasn't, been occupied by that. And so this is really the work of this time is going in, and just like Sergi said, that it is really going in and getting clear, like what's me and what's not me. Because if we continue through this portal as humanity with trauma dictating how we're relating to ourselves and our world, we will end up in this place that is very, very dark. And, I really feel that I'm not exactly sure how to experience this, but I do feel that we are in a split. We are in a point where there are people who are going to choose different things. And the most, right now, our work is to do the work for ourselves and not to get too caught up in what other people are doing, but really to center our own process, not in a way of disassociating from other people's, but really getting clear, what am I taking forward for myself? Because only then can we really bring in this future that is cohabitation and receiving the gifts, and not continue this stepping down and down and down each age into more and more cyclical trauma that is getting spread out more and more. So yeah, it's we have such an incredible opportunity here, all of us.
I'd love to just follow that up, Sarah, and as well as Jane. Thank you for bringing up such a beautiful point. And Jane, when you said that your divine masculine and your divine feminine were both in the age of Pisces, and that your sun is in Aquarius, that really solidified it too. And especially what you're saying, Sarah, it's like this pain is kind of what brings us into this alternate reality. It's this alternate reality where we don't feel fully whole and complete onto ourselves, so that we externalize our creation abilities. And so by externalizing our creation abilities, we're like, okay, AI and transhumanism and all of these things that are external from within, outside of us, when we have all of these gifts already inside of us, the things that we're creating transhumanism and robots and AI for are the gifts that we haven't realized within ourselves as of yet. And it's these gifts right now that are an invitation and a rekindling and a reclamation and really a remembrance that's coming home to us now. This is the essence of the portal that we're in and the two directions that we can choose to go, pain or pleasure, you know, and it's this really beautiful oscillation of fear or faith. You know, are we so fearful of our own power that we externalize it into something that is machine-like? You know, or do we have the faith that anything that we are willing to create can come from internally and then be embodied in a way that is godlike, that is a way that is a creatrix or a creationist property or expression? You know, so what way do we want to oscillate? And I feel like so many people think technology is moving forward and its expansion, and technological advances can certainly be that, but there's also this personal expansion that can be a technological advance within ourselves that is just so much more intimate, and it's so much more aloha ma, it's face to face with the reflective properties of ourself versus looking into the eyes of something that really isn't there and trying to find our own reflections in a transhumanist copy of ourselves, a clone of what it is that we haven't been able to find in ourselves. And so thank you so much for listening and for sharing. Those are beautiful.
Mahalo, mahalo, Jatam and Sarah. And, you know, we're speaking of the cosmic machine that is this, and we're only using, I don't even know if we're using 1% of its potential. So just as you're saying, Jatam, we're applying that in these exterior things, saying you do this task for me because I have doubt that I can accomplish and embody that myself. This is a cosmic machine. And my kupuna said, boy, this can create or collapse a universe. And we are not utilizing it at its full potential. So perhaps we will go inward and we will discern how we can be that aloha ma, the highest potential of the self. I feel like it's good for us to begin to wrap up. I notice, however, that we have 2 family members who have raised their hands, and we definitely want to hear from you, family. Christina, did you raise your hand, and do you have something you would like to share?
Yeah, I can keep it really brief. Mahalo, everyone, for this juiciness. And I just wanted to echo this imagery that came through in so many different people's shares of this vessel of water being poured out in really limitless abundance for each other. And I just love that we're moving into, by going inside, doing that deeper work from the depths of our being and finding those limitless gifts within, we then have the overflow and the abundance to pour out and to give to others. And that's like where Pisces and Aquarius birth in, where Pisces really births into Aquarius, and we become the bearers of that life-giving force, that life-giving waters for each other. And yeah, just celebrating the overflow of everybody's gifts here. And yeah, we're just at the beginning. It's so exciting. So thank you, everybody, for weaving this wisdom. And I love Jatem saying the wisdom and the wonder, because when we come with wonder, we can access everything that we have yet to discover. And that's, to me, the word that's the word that came out of when I was with you at the Aloha Ma workshop here. My masculine word that I came to eventually was wonder. When I can meet, anytime there's fear and resistance and scary, darkness, the shadow, all that, if I just come to it with wonder, then it's just so fun to play in that realm, discover our gifts and then pour it out for others by speaking our story, like Juan said. So thank you, everyone.
Mahalo. I love you, sister. Yes, wonder, awe. Awe is the gospel of nature. It is the gospel of nature. Awe. To be in awe. You deserve it. I deserve it. We all deserve it. Why are we preventing ourselves and one another from being in perpetual awe? I felt I saw someone else raise their hand. Did someone else raise their hand? I just want to make sure that you're heard. Family member? Now's your time. No? Okay, so what I would love to do, my friends, is look, Kumo was like, me, hello, me. I would just like to close by all of the guest speakers just sharing any last kind of tokens that you'd like to share with your lahui. And so I would love to start with Kumu. Would you like to share something with the lahui?
Yeah, yes. You know, today we're so inundated by computers, by there's so much mess in front of us all the time. It's going around, and we're inundated by looking at our phones constantly, and it's really, really super bad what we're doing. And because of that, we have the opportunity to put it together. The word is lokahi. Lokahi. Lokahi, balance. Lokahi, communicate. Lokahi, being together. This is lokahi. Keakua is on the top. Keakua can be God, can be Jesus, can be Buddha, but Keakua is the highest. To connect to Keakua. The next one on the side of this is Kanaka. We don't communicate with each other. We don't talk to each other. We talk over to each other. We really don't talk to each other in the depths, in the way we should be talking to each other. The other one is Ka'aina. You know, the land, to take care of the land. Do something about it. Don't say, oh my God, look at the rubbish. Do something. Oh my God, look at that. Look at the homeless people. Do something about it. Make it happen. Because we're getting to make it happen constantly in our lives, and we're forgetting lokahi. Lokahi is so important. Lokahi comes from our elders. Lokahi comes from our connection to who we are. You know, I was hearing people say the darkness, oh my God. And you know what? Yeah, but you know what? You don't live in that hale anymore, in that house. You don't live there. So when people tell you about your past, just tell them, hey, I don't live in that house anymore. And then they say, oh, what's the future? I don't live in that house either. Well, what house do you live in? I live in the house of now. That's where I am. So in closing, I'm going to repeat again the closing prayer. The peace of I. Peace be with you. All my peace. The peace is I. The peace that is I am. The peace for always, now, and forever, evermore. My peace I give to you. My peace I leave with you. Not the world's peace, but only my peace. The of I.
The peace of I. Mahalo. Mahalo, mahalo Kumu, mahalo, Yalahui appreciates you. We love you, mahalo. Sister Neve, Are you on, Sister Neve? Is there any last things you'd like to share with the Lahui? I'm not sure. Are you here, sister?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Sorry, it was on mute. Mahalo, thank you so much. There's just this piece, you know, just as we're coming to the completion of this ceremony, this piece around this grand splitting that we're speaking into in the realms of, you know, transhumanism, technical intelligence, and then of course we have organic intelligence, so OI, AI, and just like this remembrance, right? On one side, people may choose a world governed by technocracy, and on another side, people may choose to resist and fight against it. But either way, it will leave humanity divided amongst itself. And so I love the quote where Rumi, you know, out beyond the ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, I'll meet you there. And there is a space emerging in the beyond. And maybe this is Aquarius, I don't know, where we get to alchemize the duality and the separation. And perhaps that is what is the organic. It is the field beyond, because that which is organic has the capacity to be with all of life, all contrasting expressions. And so there may be beings or souls that choose a path of governed by technocracy, because part of their path is to, like Jatem said, is they need to explore or have aspects of their being reflected back to them through technology. And yet there may be others, and perhaps that's why we're here, where we've explored all those facets. We've already experienced those cycles of separation, but now we are at a point where we're beginning to directly experience our organic technology come online. And we don't need to play out the eras of separation anymore. And for me, I feel like the age of Aquarius is inviting me into that. And it can feel like pain. It can feel like conflict is beginning to bubble up within me. But that is inviting me into the alchemy, and it's inviting me into being witness to what is this new emergence. And I just want to leave that reminder, and that is what, when I refer to the original blueprint, our original genetic blueprint, it is our organic natural intelligence. And thank you to everyone, and thank you, I think it was Karen who brought that to light, and to everyone shares, because I've received so much remembrance here through everyone's reflections. Mahalo Keone, and to all of the facilitators. I'm just renewed with a renewed with a sense of deep remembrance. Aloha.
Mahalo, thank you so much, Sister Neve, and for really sealing this hoop, this circle with the word organic. Mahalo, thank you so much for your service, sister. Your community appreciates you. I'm actually gonna kind of fast forward to Sister Sarah, because Sister Sarah does need to leave shortly. So Sister Sarah, would you like to share any last tokens of wisdom with your lahui?
I would. Thank you so much for, I have 4 children waiting for me to complete this ceremony. But I wanna kind of reflect on a few things that Kumu said. And one is that we live in the house of now, and the house of now is built out of the present, and the present is presence. And this is the time to come into presence with yourself and to really, really locate yourself. And that is going to take silence. It's going to take boundaries. It's going to take, it will take leaning into discomfort, but it will also take wonder, just like Christina said, really wondering and being in that space of wonder. You know, what is happening for me internally in this moment? What is me and what isn't me? And then the other thing that Kuma said that I just loved was have patience. Don't give up so easily, because this is not an overnight rodeo that we're on. This is lifetimes of exploration and transformation, and just don't give up, because don't give up with the idea that it's not happening fast enough. Just stay focused, do your work, stay connected to the earth, and make space for the new information to come in. Thank you so much, everybody, everyone who shared. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be integrating this. And thank you, Keone.
Mahalo. Thank you so much, sister. Oh, brah, our entire life is our legacy. This reminds me of what my kupuna, my grandmother, Kauiki Onalani, told me. One of the first things she said, everything you do must be a ceremony. Only then will your entire life be an act of worship. Our entire life is that legacy. So let's be responsible. Let's be patient. Let's be kind to ourselves. Let's be fair. Let's be fair to ourselves and to all others. Brother Juan, my brother, do you have any last words that you would love to share with your lahui? Sister Sarah, your community appreciates you. We love you. Aloha ma.
Yes, thank you, brother. Thank you for everyone again. Just to echo what's already been said, just really the word of creation. Creation is infinite. Each and every one of us is that creation. So as you go out into your day and your work, may you create with kwahan, with truth, and with conviction. And I want, when I introduced myself earlier, I said hauka. Hauka in Kumeyaay is it's like hello, but really the word comes from the word fire and breath, and what it means is when you say hauka, it's telling someone to go out, and may that spirit, may that fire burn bright in you in everything that you do. So I just wanted to say Ayehan, thank you, Ayehan Mishe, so much with gratitude. Hauka, each one of you for showing up today, and as you go into your communities, like I said, speak kwahan, speak truth, because where there's truth, there's conviction, and I think that's incredibly important. And I always do it with grace and with humility. So thank you for this opportunity.
Hauka, my brother, mahalo. Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing these fabrics of wisdom of how we can best express ourselves. And that's really what I took from a lot of your sharing, is how are we going to be the ambassadors of ourselves? It's no one else's responsibility to translate who I am. This is the ministry. I'm going to clarify, and I want to share it like this. The only reason why my community has made assumptions about me is because I've not been clear. Full accountability for the self. Thank you so much, Juan. Your community appreciates you, and we love you. Sister, je t'aime, chérie. Sister, do you have words of wisdom for your lahui?
Just so much gratitude for this space, for the unraveling of all of our vulnerabilities and for wisdom here. And just speaking into legacy. I think this is such a beautiful thing to, at least for me, to part with, is the legacy of Pisces is that serpent of wisdom, that serpent of wonder, penetrating that cosmic egg, that Fisher King penetrating the Aquarian vase of water pouring out over this earth, and I love how Sarah, as well as me, spoke into AI and being the artificial intelligence, and then OI being the organic intelligence. And Elizabeth made a beautiful comment in the chat saying the origin is organic. And really the origin, for me at least, is this orgasmic intelligence. This is the floodwaters and the floodgates being opened from the pillars of initiation. This is the water coming from the vase of Aquarius, flooding this earth with pleasure. This is our legacy: pleasure, passion, play. Let's do this. This is the legacy. Let's live it. Let's live our legacy. I love you all.
Yes, my sister, mahalo. Rapid acceptance to be in play and pleasure. We deserve it. We deserve to experience this phenomenal animate world with pleasure. Mahalo, I love you, Sister Jatem. Thank you so much. Your community appreciates you and we love you. Sister Kamala, our dear soundstress, do you have any words of wisdom to share with your lahui?
Just so much gratitude to sit in a circle together, to receive so much wisdom, and yeah, it's really it's such an honor to sit in a circle like this. And what I feel in terms of my like a deep takeaway, because everything will keep rippling through, all the bits will kind of come into play, and it will make more and more sense as the days, weeks, months, years go by. It's happening anyway. We are evolving. It's gonna happen. It's happening. And that deep wisdom, that deep unfolding it's there, and it's when we become very still and listen to that inner wisdom. Notice the feeling in your body. You have a compass. You have a compass. You have so many tools. So tools within you, tools as a community, as a collective. There is so much beauty to unfold. And that also means sitting with that and transmuting that which feels ugly. Listen to the compass inside. It's happening anyway. You're going to evolve. That's it. It's happening. That's what makes it kind of effortless. Listen moment to moment. Thank you so much for everyone who attended and all of the facilitators. Thank you, Brother Keone. It was such an honor. Yeah, such an honor to be part of this circle. Thank you. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Sister Kamala. And do you notice that Sister Kamala's voice is a crystal ball? That's called embodiment. Sister Kamala, thank you so much. Your community appreciates your service and we love you. I just want to share in closing one thing, and it's just a little snippet from Amu prayer. And it really, really talks about everything we shared. It is Elatna ko ilainta Shakespeare nawa Lachavai Amara Pisces. Courage is now required to become free of the involvement. Breaking away is the water in reverence of Pisces. Blessed be Pisces, blessed be the experience of Pisces, and blessed be the approach of Aquarius. We are so grateful. As we all tune out, my friends, mahalo, thank you, all of you, for your presence. It has meant the world to all of us, all of your contributions. Your presence alone is a contribution. I would like everyone, as they tune out, everyone to unmute yourselves, and we're going to say two words. We're going to say one that Kumu shared. I'm going to write it, lokahi, and then we're going to share what Brother Juan shared, hauka. Brother Juan, will you type that in the comments so people know the correct pronunciation? Lokahi, and Hauka. If we could all together unmute, and as you tune out, you just share these words with your lahui. Lokahi.
Lokahi. Hauka.
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 Lokahi. Mahalo to you all. I love you all. Thank you, and I love you.